What are we to do with Cincinnati?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Jameis Winston.
You're going to be judged on what you do in the playoffs.
The ultimate thing is to keep playing and work to kick the door down.
We're going to compete, we're going to shine, and we're going to have a good time.
I know only time will tell if all the cards will treat me well. Cause this hand that I've been dealt keeps me wondering. Starting over once again, this is where it all begins. Tell me who can really say what will tomorrow bring? I feel like walking up. I've had this dream before. I take these footsteps, go higher, go higher.
It is a steamy summer night here in Tampa, Florida, and for the Bucs fans, it's their first chance in person to see their new number one, their number 3, Jameis Winston, the quarterback, as the Bucs and the Cincinnati Bengals wrap up week 2 of the preseason. Hi, everyone. Mike Tirico, along with John Gruden, who's won a game or two in these parts. Lisa Salters will join us in a second. 1976, this franchise was founded. It's been almost a perpetual search for that franchise quarterback. Now in steps Jameis Winston, number 1 overall pick from Florida State, and there is hope around the Bucs, John.
Well, one of the reasons I got fired here is I couldn't find a franchise quarterback. But Tampa Bay feels like they found their man. Jameis Winston has come in here and energized this Buccaneer football team. He's talented. He's confident. He's got a good football intelligence, and they have surrounded him with 2 excellent wide receivers, Vincent Jackson, Mike Evans. They're both 6'5" targets that can go get it. Both of them had over 1,000 yards last season. But I think if Jameis Winston and the Bucs want to get off to a good start, they have got to run the ball better, and they've got to block a whole lot better. Those are the 2 areas they struggled the most at last year.
Their coach would love that. That coach is Lovie Smith, standing by live with Lisa Salter.
Thank you, Mike. Lovie, after an up-and-down performance in his first preseason game, what kind of improvement are you looking to see out of Jameis Winston tonight?
Well, just with his entire game, we thought he did some good things. Whenever you turn the ball over, it's not a good thing, but he's worked on that this week, and hopefully that won't happen tonight.
What has he shown you so far that lets you know that he is ready to handle everything that comes along with being an NFL franchise quarterback?
What he's done is he's handled everything we've given him so far, Lisa, and that's about all you can ask right now, from moving into the leadership roles to making plays when he has to, becoming one of the teammates. So we're excited about where he is right now.
Thanks for your time. Good luck tonight. Have a great season. Mike.
All right, Lisa, let's go to the other side. If I asked you to name 4 teams that have been to the playoffs the last 4 years, you'd get New England, you'd get Seattle, you'd probably get Green Bay. Most folks wouldn't get Cincinnati. John, they've won 40 games in the last 4 years, but they haven't won a big one. They have not won a playoff game. Good news for the Bengals. The band is back together to try to do that this year.
Well, I think continuity is a big reason why they are where they are. I mean, they are a good team because they've kept this band together, but pressure is mounting for the Bengals to become a great team. And it all starts with their quarterback, Andy Dalton. He's been a good quarterback for 4 years. He's been to the Pro Bowl twice, but he's got to play a lot better in the postseason, and he's not alone. Wide receiver A.J. Green has had 4 really good seasons, but his numbers are way down in the postseason. And the Bengals have got to rush the passer better in the postseason and in the regular season, and it starts and ends with Geno Atkins. If I were with the Bengals, I wouldn't worry about winning 1 playoff game. I'd worry about getting into the playoffs and winning them all. Wow. This is a talented team that's got to put it all together this year.
All right, we'll get to see them and the Bucs here coming up. Marvin Lewis's team, full of promise. We'll see Act 2 of their preseason coming up in Tampa next on ESPN.
ESPN welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
Well, if you were with us for our preseason Buffalo game in Cleveland, you saw pylon cam. Those cameras looking everywhere. Give you some extra looks here as the ball comes down the sideline, people inbounds or not. You'll see it from the pylon. Get those 2 feet in before going out of bounds on the sideline or on the end line. We'll check that as well. And the goal line, see if people cross the plane looking right down it from the pylon view, and somebody puts the ball over the top of the pylon, it's a touchdown. You can see it there from pylon cam. We have that working in this preseason game as we did on Thursday night in Cleveland. This night is pretty hot. The temperature's 88 here at 8 Eastern time. and it feels like 98 outside. Cincinnati won the toss and deferred. Their regular kicker, Mike Nugent, missing his second preseason game. A bit of a groin injury, so it'll be Tom Obarski kicking to Kenny Bell of the Buccaneers. Kenny waves everybody off and said, let's give the ball to Jameis Winston at the 20-yard line. So Winston comes out. He played the first half of that preseason game in Minneapolis a week ago Saturday. 8 drives. They scored a couple of times. And, John, you went back and watched the film. For the folks who weren't with us on Monday Night Countdown, what are the things you saw from Winston in that game?
I thought he saw the field well. They put him in the no-huddle offense. They gave him the freedom to audible and change plays at the line of scrimmage. The communication was good. He's got to settle down early in games. It was a problem at Florida State. It was a problem last week against the Vikings.
The first play is a Buccaneer in this stadium. And Winston will check it down and complete it to his running back, Doug Martin. Martin takes it near the 29-yard line. Gain of 9.
And Mike, this defense that Cincinnati runs is going to force you to be patient at times. That time, Winston did a nice job getting through his progression, getting to his second receiver coming out of the backfield, and that's what you want to see Jameis Winston do. Show some patience. When he gets a chance to push it, push it.
Hey, we're good. Mike 58. Sunday. Where do we go?
This is 2nd and 1, and good patience as Martin goes across the 35 at a first. And you had to love listening to that, John, as you hear a rookie quarterback at the line.
Well, he made a lot of things happen with his communication. We're good. He got him in the right play. He got everybody on the same page, gave him time to echo the calls, and first down Tampa.
Dirk Cutter's the offensive coordinator. One of the things he said, gave James all the offense, handled it right from the beginning. From the 36-yard line with pressure on, Winston throws complete. And Jaworski Lane takes it out past the 40-yard line. Carlos Dunlap was making the pressure.
And Cincinnati has got to get a pass rush. Left tackle, Donovan Smith, a rookie out of Penn State, doing an excellent job against Wallace Gilberry. And if Tampa Bay can pass protect, Jameis Winston is going to complete a lot of passes. But you see Dunlap closing in for Cincinnati.
Well, their right tackle was hurt, DeMar Dotson. Donovan Smith's a rookie at the left tackle spot. Their regular center's not in tonight. This is not a full line that he's working with, but doing fine now is Martin. Takes it into Bengal territory down to the 43-yard line before being hit by Reggie Nelson.
We talked about this in the pregame, Mike. If Tampa Bay comes back to prominence, they're going to have to run the football. And Doug Martin, as a rookie, ran it as well as any rookie in NFL history. But he has been awful quiet the last 2 years. And according to Dirk Cutter, the offensive coordinator, nobody has practiced with a better sense of purpose than Doug Martin, who's in a contract year.
There is Dirk. Was with Atlanta in this division the last 3 years as offensive coordinator. From the 42, Winston, good throw. He's got all the tools to be a solid quarterback, including a strong arm. Austin Seferian-Jenkins with the catch.
You said it, clean pocket. You see Jenkins on the right side of your screen. He's going to run a pivot 10 to 12 yards deep right over his inside shoulder. Good timing, good location. And Tampa Bay has done an excellent job mixing it up. Play action pass on early downs and a couple nice runs by Doug Martin.
Easy. No, we're good. Sunday. Where do we go?
1st and 10. It is Martin to the right. No push from the front. Patiently stays on his feet. And inside the 10, Martin cuts to the goal line. Down at the 1. That's what you were talking about, John. The Doug Martin we saw as a rookie made plays like that.
He was unbelievable as a rookie out of Boise. But watch him off the right side. He's going to bounce his play to the outside, break 2 tackles. And if you practice finishing runs, you'll finish them on game day. Come and watch Doug Martin on the practice field. This is exactly how this young man has practiced throughout training camp.
30 on that carry. Lovie Smith said it's been his best practice player this year in this training camp. Terrific opening drive. Martin tries to finish it off. pile, he's about a half-yard short.
This is one of the few goal line formations I've seen where the offense uses big personnel. So many times you see wide receivers spread out, Mike. I'm shocked that Vincent Jackson, Mike Evans aren't in the ball game in this situation. But Tampa Bay is going to try to get this running game going. What better place to do that than by running it repeatedly on the 1-yard line?
No receivers, fullback, 3 tight ends, tripping as he pulls out of there. Winston gets to the pylon and is in for the touchdown.
How about that for your first drive at home as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer quarterback? He takes this offense right down the field. It's a goal line boot. He's looking for the tight end. Nobody's there. Makes the go call, and off he goes for 6. That's Winston's second rushing touchdown. Let's check out the pylon cam. Oh, what a shot.
Broke the plane, knocked the camera out. Impressive opening drive. And Winston stumbling as he came back out from center with Jeremiah Warren in there for the normal center, Evan Dietrich Smith, who is out here tonight with a groin injury. 2 kickers in this Tampa camp. Patrick Murray will try the 33-yard extra point. Low snap, but put down nicely by Michael Kanan. And what a great drive. 8 plays, 80 yards, 4 minutes and 6 seconds. The #1 overall pick. Welcome to your new home. This ESPN NFL preseason specials brought to you by ESPNFanshop.com. Powered by Dick's Sporting Goods. Good to be back in Tampa. And that big old Buccaneer flag in front of One Buck Place, the headquarters of the Buccaneers, where their offices and practices are. Right across the way, Raymond James Stadium, where Jameis Winston will call home, and fans got to see a very impressive first home drive. 8 plays and 80 yards to put the Buccaneers on top. Michael Kanan, who is the punter for this team, and he's also in a battle for his job, will kick it off. Bengals have several good returners. Adam Jones was an all-pro returner. Brandon Tate is back for this kick, which is not a good one. Come up and get it at the 1. And Tate works the sideline to the 24-yard line, where he is brought down by DJ Swearinger. Andy Dalton has been in the NFL 4 years. He's won 40 games. He's been to the playoffs every year, and he's done many, many good things. Last year, his supporting cast was not healthy as the season went on. They still got 10 wins out of it. But again, it's that playoff story for so many folks. Everything we've heard from Cincinnati and from the Bengals we talked to last night is it's leadership time for Andy Dalton. More vocal as this training camp has gone on. This is clearly his team now. Drive started at 24. And where else does he go? A.J. Green, gain of 15 out of bounds on the first down.
That's a nice supporting cast that they have in Cincinnati. 2 outstanding running backs and one of the best receivers in football. Fake the ball to Jeremy Hill, come out, bootleg to your right. Full speed comeback by A.J. Green, and he beats Alteron Werner easily. A.J. Green, a number of injuries last season, had a lot to do with some of Dalton's struggles.
Foot injury, concussion. There's Jeremy Hill with the run across the 40 and to the 43-yard line. John, you mentioned Dalton and Green, both coming in the league together. First and second round pick in 2011. 4 seasons together, 324 catches, 4,700+ yards, 33 touchdowns. In your first 4 seasons together, that ranks first in NFL history. The touchdown number is tied for first. Marino and Clayton have that from their Miami days. But other than that, this has been as good a duo to enter the league together and shine. Dalton 2nd and 6. The big back Jeremy Hill to the left. That's a gain of about a yard. George Johnson over there on the stop. You love the 1-2 combo they have in the backfield, starting with this big man.
Gonna have to come up with a nickname, Thunder and Lightning. And this kid Hill brings thunder. He makes more yardage after contact than most backs in the NFL, and he wears defenses down. And when he wears them down, they bring in Giovanni Bernard, who I refer to as Lightning, and man, is he quick.
And then on third down, when they spread, they use Rex Burkhead, now in his third year out of Nebraska, in the slot. Buccaneers show pressure and back out. Dalton chased from the pocket. A flag is down, likely for a hold as Dalton smartly goes down with minimal gain. That is Quan Alexander who made the stop. He's the rookie middle linebacker who's going to be a starter here in Tampa. We'll talk about him as the night goes on.
Holding. Offense, number 73. Penalty is declined. Result of the play is 4th down.
Got Eric Winston. Winston is holding Larry English. Right side of your screen. Number 57 for Tampa Bay is Larry English, and
easy call. Rookie Kalen Clay, they're watching him. He had some good exciting returns at Utah. Punt is away, and Clay's going to let it go. It'll be a 57-yard punt with 37 of net, as it was kicked by the veteran Kevin Huber. Penalty marker thrown on the sideline. And as per usual, as you've been watching these preseason games, those special teams plays yield a flag.
During the kick, holding, receiving team, number 89. 10-yard penalty, 1st down. Timeout.
So the Buccaneers will start from the 10, drive 2 for Jameis Winston. Back here in Tampa, John Gruden, that was a pretty good opening drive for Jameis Winston.
no doubt, he did a nice job because he had pass protection. A lot of this is just straight 4-man rush, cover 2 zone by Cincinnati, and Winston had plenty of time to look linebackers off, find completions, and then on a goal line, great effort on a bootleg, get to the pylon for 6. An impressive opening drive for Jameis Winston.
Mentioned it was 8 drives and 2 scores in Minnesota. That's number 60, Jeremiah Warren. I mentioned him. He's the backup. He's starting for Evan Smith, who is out with a groin injury, a late scratch tonight. And Martin showed that good running earlier on. Kept the play alive for 30 yards earlier. Does it for 5 there. So in addition to Warren, who's a backup center in there, you have a couple of rookies as well. In Donovan Smith, player who was drafted by the Buccaneers in the 2nd round out of Penn State. Might very well be their starting left tackle. And Ali Marpet, also taken in the 2nd round from Division III Hobart College in Geneva, New York. Highest a Division III player has ever been selected and thrown in there now at the right guard spot for the Buccaneers.
Sunday. Where we go?
After a Martin gain of 5, Winston over the top and complete to the 31-yard line. John mentions those big receivers. That one brought in by the veteran Vincent Jackson.
I love what Winston did. He used a dummy snap count. He knew it was a 4-man rush. You use this play-action pass where you pull the backside guard. You get the linebackers to step up, clear out one zone, and throw underneath it. That's a nice job by Jameis Winston using the snap count and making another nice delivery.
Ready. 125. 125 to hot. All right. Might fit the zone. Sunday. Where we go?
Get an idea what the quarterback looks at. From the 31, Winston play action. Takes the deep shot down the field for Mike Evans. And overthrows him by a step with Adam Jones, the veteran, in coverage.
You just see the intent that Jameis Winston plays the position with. That time, a play-action pass. He turns his back to the defense, and he sets his feet looking for the home run. He is a very aggressive thinker, and if it's there, you can't outrun this arm, Mike. Remember, he's a big-time baseball player. He has a cannon, and he has an aggressive mindset. I love that combination.
And a couple of receivers who can hit the big pass as well, as we've seen in Evans' first year and Jackson's career.
Green Toledo.
A lot of audibles.
Sunday. Where we go?
Got the playoff in time. Just to a pass. Everything's covered. So Winston takes off and throws sideline. Flag is down. Great catch. What a look at that Vincent Jackson catch, which would be a gain of 16 and a 1st down if the play holds up.
Another audible. Great blitz pickup by Doug Martin. And let's hear the call.
Pass interference. Offense, number 83, 10-yard penalty, replay, second down.
To say that Vincent Jackson pushed Adam Jones deep. That's why he was able to come back. A little sheepish look from the 11th year veteran Jackson.
I'd like to see that catch on that pylon cam thing. How about that walk the chalk by Vincent Jackson? 32 years old, 6 1,000-yard seasons. He's averaged 17 yards a catch throughout his career. That's hard to do. Catch a football on the sideline as he just did.
So the penalty backs up Tampa. It is 2nd and 20, and there's Martin. Oh, great moves. Martin to the 28-yard line for another flag down.
And you see the quickness, the agility of Doug Martin. I mean, that time it's a simple one-back draw play. And
holding. Offense, number 76, 10-yard penalty, replay, second down.
It's the rookie second-round pick out of Penn State.
Got to keep an eye on Donovan Smith and all these young linemen in the heat. Number 76, left side of your screen. Oh, I don't see that. I remember when I coached here, Mike, it was hard on these young linemen, both sides of the ball, getting acclimated to playing in this Florida heat throughout training camp.
Charles Sims comes in now instead of Doug Martin. Back-to-back penalties make it 2nd and 30, and it's screen time with Sims. Second-year man out of West Virginia takes it to the 25-yard line to pick up 13 of the 30 they need.
It's good call in a predictable long yardage situation. It's a screen pass. You have to lure the rush to you. And Jameis Winston has to find the screening back, and hopefully you pick up a block or two downfield.
Not the greatest first series for the Bengals defense. Made a couple of good plays here. They play without two of their big names. Michael Johnson up front. Vontez Burfict, the linebacker. There's still some talented and familiar names. Pass rushing on 3rd and 16. Winston in and out of the hands of the diving would-be first down target in Tim Wright, the tight end who was traded to New England for Logan Mankins and then came back this offseason.
Well, it's a tight window throw, and Jameis Winston throws the seam right between Leon Hall and Reggie Nelson, the free safety. That's as good a throw as you can make in that situation. Wright's got to make that catch.
Michael Kanan will kick it away. Giovanni Bernard is back deep for the Bengals. Good hang time on this. Shockingly, a flag is down after that 42-yard kick. That was fair caught by Bernard. We'll check out the flag.
During the kick, holding, return team, number 26, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Cincinnati's ball, first down, timeout.
It's Josh Shaw, the rookie out of Southern California. He was one of the gunners and got caught holding. Bengal ball in a minute. When you have a rookie quarterback on offense, everybody knows. Rookie quarterback on defense is an issue to deal with as well. Quan Alexander, 4th-round pick, thrown in that spot now, John.
I really like what he did last week. He's got a nose for the football. He's quick, vision on the quarterback, no yardage after the catch, and he was the fastest middle linebacker in the draft. Watch his sideline pursuit, Mike. Fire! I like the way this kid plays, and his middle linebacker coach is Hardy Nickerson, a former Tampa great.
First down for Andy Dalton from the 22. A sideline throw is incomplete. You can see from that shot timing just a step off as Mohamed Sanu came out of the break.
But you look at Alexander. For him to be able to stand in front of his teammates, get the call from Nickerson on the sidelines, echo it, and then communicate the adjustments, the alerts. Hard to do for any rookie at any level of football, especially where the big boys play.
As the Bengals came out of that odd formation, he had to move his guys to the right spot. Bernard drops the swing pass. Incomplete, and it will be 3rd down.
But you're listening to Hardy Nickerson get the call from Lovie Smith. He's going to tell Quan Alexander what the front is, what the coverage is, what to be alert for. Then Quan's got to tell his teammates. And this is a 21-year-old kid from LSU who came out as a junior. He's got to tell Levante David, Gerald McCoy. Not everybody can stand in front. This kid can do it.
Slow start for this Bengals offense. 6 plays, 20 yards. Trying to pick up 3rd and 10. Bucs delay their pressure. They get to Dalton and bring him down in George Johnson with the sack.
Somebody's got to be a defensive end for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have struggled to find an edge rusher. And George Johnson, number 94. Excuse me, that's Henry Melton on the right side. You see Johnson wrapping up Dalton. But George Johnson came over from Detroit. He had 6 sacks as a Lion last season. And Cincinnati is struggling right now on both sides of the ball.
Huber with the kick. It'll be 46 yards and fielded at the 39 by Kalen Clay. Roots one man. Another flag down as Clay squirms forward to the 47-yard line. It's a Tampa defense that did not get a lot of production. They signed Michael Johnson in free agency last year. The former Bengals waived. Now he's back as a defensive teammate for Andy Dalton. And it's been a slow start for Cincinnati on this offensive side tonight. To sort out this flag, we now have another preseason game with 8 officials. It'll be 7 in the regular season. They are using an 8th as an experiment to see how it works throughout the first couple of weeks of the preseason in several games. That's something you're going to see in all college football at the FBS level this year. 8 officials in the game.
And we got Jerry Austin up here. We got enough officials
Too
to get a call here.
Too shy of fielding a team, right?
There were 3 fouls on the play, all by the return team. During the return, holding by the return team, number 29. That penalty is declined. Holding by the return team, number 26. That penalty is also declined. Illegal block in the back during the kick by number 49 of the return team. That penalty is accepted. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Tampa Bay's ball, 1st down. Timeout.
Ron Tobin had the 3 officials who called those flags.
My goodness.
Help me out with the numbers, will you, boys? Numbers pretty good for Jameis Winston in the first 2 drives. We'll see number 3 for drive 3 after this. Bulls joining the NFL, celebrating USA Football Month. Youth football celebrated. Great participation at many levels, recognizing over 1 million middle and high school athletes. You know where the camera is, too, by the way. Heads Up Football, we've seen over 250,000 register for that. NFL, all 32 clubs celebrating youth football. Visit playfootball.com to learn more. Winston taking over from the 29-yard line, and Sims back at it. A nice cut by Sims. And Charles gains 8 yards. We have another penalty marker down, back where the blocking was happening.
Flag every play, Mike.
Holding. Offense, number 87. 10-yard penalty. Replay. 1st down.
Tight end Austin Safarian Jenkins. John, that's Paul Gunther. He replaced Mike Zimmer when Zim went to Minnesota to be the head coach. 2nd year with the Bengals calling the defense. And it was not a full deck that he was dealing with last year as they lost a couple of big names to injury.
Exactly, and it's not a full deck right now. They're missing their best player on defense, Vontez Burfict, their star middle linebacker.
1st and 20. Winston throws to the 3rd receiver on this team, Lewis Murphy, who gets about 7 of the penalty yards back. So you have to fill in some places with some new faces because of the Burfict injury. We don't know when he's going to be back. The start of the season, or maybe a month into the season, and there's one of them. A.J. Hawk, entire career as a Packer, comes back to Ohio, where he's from, and now plays for the Bengals.
All-time leading Packer tackler, A.J. Hawk, after 9 years, brings some leadership and some playmaking at the linebacker position.
2nd and 12. Winston shows off that arm for Evans, and Drake Kirkpatrick step for step. 2 pretty good athletes. 6'2" is Kirkpatrick, keeping up with the 6'5" Evans.
Dre Kirkpatrick last year on Monday Night Football got Peyton Manning twice, and since then, he's earned the starting left corner job of the Cincinnati Bengals. That's the blind spot right there, Mike. You're playing tight man-to-man coverage. You got to flip your head late in the down and find the ball. That's a big-time play by the former first-rounder from Alabama.
24, bottom of your screen, Adam Jones starts at one corner. Kirkpatrick, 27 at the other. Leon Hall, the nickel in there, number 29. Third down, Winston throws, too tall for Murphy. There's Kirkpatrick in there on that coverage. That's a much better defensive series for this Cincinnati team.
Well, they didn't play a base vanilla defense either. That's the first time they ran that double-A blitz package between the center and the guard. There's two linebackers, and sometimes they blitz, sometimes they bluff. There's Geno Atkins in a one-on-one situation. No chance for Tampa.
Carl Schmitz is the other kicker trying to win a job. Gio Bernard back deep for the Bengals. Schmitz first punt of the evening. Not good. Got to bounce or got to break. Of course, we have a flag. And a 45-yard kick is not returned. Back at 27 for the moment.
Ron Tolbert's going to have a sore arm after this game, throwing all these flags.
Well, he's getting more TV time than you tonight, so
that's a good thing. I don't know, the 8 officials in the huddle. We got Jerry looking over my shoulder. We'll get an explanation.
So often in the preseason, so many flags on special teams. These units don't work together as often.
Illegal touching of the kick by the kicking team. Number 29 was blocked out of bounds and came back in, was the first to touch the kick. That penalty is declined. It'll be Cincinnati's ball at the spot of first touching. First down. Timeout.
Since it hit his foot, it's not all the way back to 25 where it ended up. All right, 3 weeks from now, it's for real. We'll recap everything that happened on Sunday with Monday Night Countdown, and then the doubleheader capper of Week 1, Eagles and Falcons in Atlanta, the Vikings and 49ers out in Santa Clara. Wrap it up with a couple of NFC games to put Week 1 in the books 3 weeks from tonight. 2 weeks from tonight, Ohio State plays Virginia Tech. A week from tonight, the U.S. Open begins. So your Monday nights are spoken for the next 19 weeks. First down for Andy Dalton. He'll hand to Jeremy Hill, and it's good surge by that Tampa defense. Clinton McDonald, one of the men over there.
Love watching this Ryan Hewitt, number 89, as a lead back for Jeremy Hill. You're going to see some collisions between Hewitt and these Buccaneer linebackers. Hewitt is a second-year man out of Stanford. Sometimes he lines up as the fullback. Now he's lining up over here as the tight end.
Right next to him is their third-round pick out of Rutgers, tight end Tyler Kroft, 71. Play action by Dalton. You see the pocket collapse as he is thrown down. Penalty marker in the middle of it, but Larry English gets to the quarterback again.
With help from McCoy, and Zeitler and Eric Winston are no match for these Buccaneers.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Offense, number 61. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is third down.
That's the center, Russell Bodine.
Take a look at it. There's McCoy on your right side of the screen. English is outside of him, and Kevin Zeitler, the right guard, number 68, allows penetration, and there's that patented TE stunt. The tackle goes first, the end wraps underneath, and Cincinnati once again way behind in the down and distance, Mike.
Bengals first-team offense has run 9 plays, only netted 6 yards. From the 32, it's a 4-man rush that gets to Dalton again. Gerald McCoy, who caused the attention earlier, gets the stat and the sack, the third of this opening quarter.
Well, that's the real McCoy. You know, last week against Minnesota, I didn't like the way McCoy played. This time he is off to the races. And once again, Zeitler at right guard, number 68. No match for Gerald McCoy. And That's not good enough by Cincinnati. You see number 94, George Johnson, once again in the mix for Tampa.
50-yard kick by Hubert. Here comes the rookie Clay. Kalen Clay brought down to the 42-yard line by Burkhead for the Bengals. Rex Burkhead the tackle, 16 on the return.
This Gerald McCoy, last week against Minnesota, I was disappointed. I have such high expectations for this young man. I think he can be one of the best to play the position. He's a great pass rusher. He has energy. But last week against the Vikings, early in the game, he jumped off sides. Disappointing. And then I saw right guard number 79, Mike Harris, block him off the screen. And on the goal line, didn't like his pad level. Tonight we're seeing a real McCoy, Mike. And that's what the Buccaneers need. They need McCoy, David, some of these young players to play like stars every week.
First unit still in for both teams. Reverse action. Here comes Russell Shepard. First down gain of a dozen for Shepard in his third year out of LSU. The Buccaneers using Shepard here with the first teamers as Mike Evans is out. A hamstring bothering the second-year star receiver for this offense. Dirk Cutter's number 13 is out for the game tonight. No more Mike Evans.
Mike Brigade. Ready. Blue ready. Blue hot.
Back in Bengal territory, Doug Martin to the right. Fullback Javorsky Lane leading the way. John, you mentioned the style of running from Martin in his fourth year out of Boise State. Legs constantly churning. He got so many extra yards after contact in that rookie season. And that's the guy who was missing, but who we've seen in this first quarter.
And he can catch the football, Mike. He's an all-purpose back. Tampa Bay doing a much better job staying with the run. Last year, the Bucs fell so far behind in the first quarter, they had to get away from the run. And I'm sure Dirk Cutter, who's not known for running the ball the last couple of years in Atlanta, is enjoying handing the ball off.
Two receivers to his left, one to his right. Winston got hit up in the face. That should be a flag. Winston brought down and sacked by Carlos Dunlap. But as you saw it from the camera right over the quarterback, Dunlap got him with the hands up by the face. And that could cost the Bengals a first down.
Well, they're going to have to get Reed Fragel some help. Reed Fragel is not going to block Carlos Dunlap one-on-one.
There's the face mask.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 96, 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic first down.
John, let's talk about Fragel, the man who got beat there. He's in his second year out of Ohio State. Very little action. The right tackle spot is going to be a work in progress. DeMar Dotson got injured in that Minnesota game. He's out into the regular season. They signed the veteran, Goster Cherilus, drafted by Detroit last 2 years in Indianapolis. He just got here early this week. So that's why Fragel's in there starting right now.
And if you look in that huddle, you see Logan Mankins, the ex-New England Patriot, playing with all these young players. He's probably wondering, how did I get here? What a leader he is, and he is critical for this young Tampa Bay Buccaneer offensive line to come together. What a leader he's been.
Good quarter for the Bucs, not as good for the Bengals, but the first time these fans have gotten to see the Buccaneers in 2015 at home. Pretty good start. 137 yards and a 7-0 lead on Monday Night Football. Back here, the west coast of Florida, in Tampa, Mike Tirico, John Gruden, and Lisa Salters. 7-0 Buccaneers as these teams each play their second preseason game. Bucs lost in Minnesota by 10. Bengals looked very crisp and sharp in beating the Giants at home 23-10. Their defense looked very good in that first game, but saw Tampa average pretty solid at 7.5 yards per play in that opening quarter. So the first team in there both ways for the most part. Winston has it from the 29-yard line. Pressure is picked up, and he throws underneath, complete to Brandon Myers, his tight end, for a gain of 8 yards. And we have yet another flag. And the illegal hands to the face on the Buccaneers.
Illegal use of hands to the face Offense, number 74. It's a 5-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
It's a 10-yard penalty, not 5, so back him up farther for Winston. I think you know the background. Jameis was so much in the headlines for on and off the field at Florida State. The off-the-field stuff, very significant. Shoplifting, acting out in the student union, sexual assault allegations where there were no charges filed. But he is still facing a civil lawsuit. His side has countersued. That is pending and seemingly well down the road until that is finally adjudicated. But he's been in the headlines with the off the field, and the Buccaneers had to go through their due diligence to be comfortable that he could be the face of the franchise. The football stuff they got around real quick and were impressed, like that rocket arm and that pass to Russell Shepard for the first down of the 17.
Another beautiful seam pass protection, outstanding, and you can't throw the ball much better than that. Right down the seam off the reroute. Ball's thrown on time and accurate, where he can catch it and protect himself. I really like what I've seen so far from young Jameis Winston.
6 of 10, 65 yards.
These penalties, Tampa Bay had more offensive penalties than any team last year.
Offense, number 70, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That's the veteran Mankins.
That's 7 penalties on the Buccaneers offense tonight. Last year they led the NFL in offensive penalties. It's the preseason. You have a lot of backups playing. You have a rookie quarterback, but Lovie Smith can't be pleased with that.
Charles Sims, the running backs, up at the top of the screen, split out wide. Speedy Bobby Rainey's the back. Winston stumbles, falls, and now gets brought down to the ground. Geno Atkins and Wallace Gilbert bring him down.
They told us Geno Atkins was coming alive, and that's the 3rd time he's been in Jameis Winston's face. Let's see if the young quarterback is all right.
He got thrown down pretty hard there.
That was a jailbreak there. Geno beat Ali Marpet with ease with a speed rush. Let's see if Jameis got stepped on here. That right ankle.
Limps towards the shotgun spot to take this 2nd and 25 snap. And swings it out. Lewis Murphy brought down inside the 30 at the 29-yard line, gain of 4.
He's hurting.
Yeah.
He got rolled up on that right ankle, and
yep, right there.
I'd be very concerned if I were on that Buccaneers sideline. I'd take a timeout and look at him.
Lovie Smith's coached a whole bunch in this league. 9 years in Chicago, the year here. I'm sure he's got similar thoughts to what you just said there, John.
Here comes Cincinnati with a blitz. They know he's hurting.
3rd and 22. Blitz comes delayed from the secondary. Winston gets rid of it, and it's incomplete.
It's what you do when you're a defensive coach. You see a quarterback that's limping around, blitz him. Right off your left side of the screen, you're going to see a free safety blitz. There's that double-A pressure package we talked to you about. And
Josh Shaw, the rookie.
Tampa's got a lot of work to do picking up some of these blitzes.
Offense, number 3, loss of down at the spot of the foul. It's 4th down.
I hesitated on that for a second as they were pointing to a spot. One of the officials pointing to where the ball was thrown. I thought he was pointing to an intended receiver, but Dirk Cutter's going to make sure that the athletic training staff gets a look at Winston as he comes over to the Tampa sideline.
Penalties, offensive penalties, killing Tampa Bay tonight. And when you fall behind in the down and distance, you're going to have to deal with some nasty blitzes. And too bad if you're a Tampa fan.
Yeah, they had 1st and 10 at the 18, go out of field goal range. And this punt will be downed inside the 1-yard line. Always important in a kicking competition. Michael Caine kicked it. Kenny Bell kept it alive. And the concern on the Bucs side is Winston's health. This ESPN NFL preseason special is brought to you by the new movie No Escape in theaters everywhere Wednesday. And NFL.com. Fantasy season is here. It's fun, free, and easy to play. Sign up. NFL.com/fantasy. Over in historic Ybor City, they've been making cigars since the early 1880s. It's habanero cigars, where that tradition continues. Lisa's going to keep an eye on the sideline on Jameis Winston right now. No medical personnel, just the quarterback crew, along with offensive coordinator Dirk Cutter, sitting around Winston. Andy Dalton, first-team Bengals offense, try to get going. From the 1, a throw. A.J. Green, first down at the 11. Gain of 10 in front of Alteron Werner.
Andy Dalton in his own end zone changed that play. They wanted to run the football. They saw the 8-man front. Andy Dalton stood up, raised his hands, changed it to a quick hitch to A.J. Green that creates some field position. That's what Andy Dalton has, Mike. He has great mental toughness. It can be going really bad, and he'll find a way to put it back together just like he did last year here in Tampa.
Regular season matchup that was not pretty, but won by Cincinnati 14-13 despite 3 Dalton interceptions. That's off the hands of Green, and it's Alteron Werner with a pick 6. Touchdown.
Well, as good as A.J. Green is, there are just way too many interceptions when Andy Dalton throws the ball to Green. And not all of them are Andy Dalton's fault. That time it's just a simple hook pattern. Same pattern they ran on the previous down, and A.J. dropped the football. And Alteron Werner makes them pay. Inexcusable mistake, and Andy's had a lot of interceptions, and if you look at them all over the last 2 years, A.J. Green's been a part of a lot of them.
A lot of passes intended for Green and forced to him. That's how stats sometimes tell an incomplete story. You go back and go, oh, hey, Dalton got picked. Andy Dalton did everything perfect on that play, just Green missed it. It is Patrick Murray adding the 33-yard extra point. 14-0 Tampa Bay. Dalton's trying to get his guys fired up. Let's get back at it. Well, Andy Dalton's interceptions have been plentiful in his 4 years, but so many of them to A.J. Green. John, we showed the stats earlier, how first 4 years in the league, those guys have the most receptions and yards and tied for the most touchdowns in league history. Also in that 4-year stretch, just 11-15, intended for Andy, or by Andy to A.J. and picked off. It's been the worst combo in terms of getting intercepted. Brandon Tate spilled on the return at the 26-yard line, showed some good speed.
Yeah, when you research it, a lot of these interceptions, A.J. Green runs a route. I don't know what he's running. And this route against Houston, that's a poor route. You can't fade at the top of your break. And when the ball's thrown to you, you either catch it or nobody catches it. Sometimes you got to play DB. And on this slant pattern, you can't stop on a slant. But a lot of these interceptions, I'm not here to play the blame game. But 27 interceptions from a fifth-year quarterback and a fifth-year receiver with this kind of talent, not acceptable.
Giovanni Bernard to the right as his first-team offense stays out. Gain of about 1.5 yards.
And here's number 28, Mike. I mean, it's just a simple hook pattern. Catch the ball, clutch it, put it away, and then run. But Cincinnati has to solve this turnover problem with their connection of Andy Dalton and A.J. Green. I used to throw the ball to Jerry Rice. I didn't care what the coverage because I knew Jerry was either going to catch it or it would be incomplete.
Come in. Here we go. You're 19.
2nd and 9. Dalton saw something in the Bucs secondary that he wanted to change. He ends up getting the relief valve, and Hill, the running back, was pulled down by that rookie, Quan Alexander. Gain of a couple of yards. John, I want to go back to the Cincinnati story with Dalton because Bengal fans pin the losses in the playoffs on Dalton. They talk about the stats in the playoffs. Those 4 games, 1 touchdown, 6 interceptions. But you made the point throughout the week as we got ready for this. You can't pin their playoff failures just on number 14.
Not just on 14. And A.J. Green's numbers are down. The offensive line hasn't played good. Their defense hasn't created any sacks. The Bengals got to do it together. And it all starts with Dalton. Let's not kid ourselves.
This is 3rd and 7. Dalton down the seam, too tall. That's hit. Intercepted by Bradley McDougald. And McDougald's on the run. Out of bounds at the 11-yard line.
Lovie Smith has got to love this. His defenses are known for creating turnovers. 34 turnovers a year. He's on a mission in Tampa to get that done here. It's a seam route to Eifert. Ball's going to be intercepted by McDougald. Poorly thrown football, but good coverage. And watch Tampa Bay after the ball is thrown. There's 3 or 4 outstanding blocks. Lovie Smith, it's a winning edge for his style of football. Get turnovers or you can't play here.
Winston is out. Mike Glennon is in. The plan was for Winston to play the entire first half. The injury likely bringing him in. And there, Devin Still pulls down Charles Sims, the back. And we got some unhappy folks. And Still went high to pull down the running back. We'll see what the call is. So a couple things to clean up here along with the flag. First off, we're talking about Dalton and the throws. That was a high throw. You said that was a poor throw by Dalton with 3 guys around him and 2 tall. It's not a 50-year quarterback throw to make.
No, it's part of the problem is these turnovers, and they got to create.
Offense, number 73, 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
They've got to create some answers over there on the sidelines. You know, you cannot turn the football over and be a perennial playoff team or expect to advance, and these Bengals are frustrated.
All right, so we mentioned the new quarterback after Winston had the ankle step rolled up on, for that sack. Mike Glennon is in there. Each of the last 2 years he's come in, not as the starter in training camp, but he's had to come in and play. Bengals had some personnel issues, too many men out there. They tried to get the timeout before the flag. Remember, this rule changed last year.
Before the flag was thrown for too many men on the defense, Cincinnati calls its first charge timeout.
Last year they adjusted that rule if the snap was imminent. There was going to be a penalty one way or the other, but they rule that they get the timeout there, so it'll be 1st and 20. And on both sides here, issues with the quarterbacks. Let's go back to the Tampa story. Winston plan, you want him to play a lot so you feel comfortable going into week 1 against Marcus Mariota and Tennessee. But when he gets his ankle hurt, you don't want to push it any farther. Thus, there's Jameis on the sideline.
Did a lot of good things tonight. Too many penalties. And part of that might be they're asking their quarterback to do too much.
Okay.
A lot of communication. You can hear it at the line of scrimmage. They've got to clean that up.
Is he handling it okay?
I think he's doing well, but
okay.
You got a rookie at right guard. You got a rookie at left tackle. There's some miscommunications that have cost him.
Right.
But Mike Glennon can win for him, too. This kid can play.
Okay.
He was off to an excellent start as a rookie and beat Pittsburgh on the road last year. So let's get Glennon some work and hope Winston's okay.
Goal, Toledo. Goal, Toledo. Sunday. Let's go.
Glennon gets an opportunity with the first string. Feels the pressure, guiding away from it, and he'll just bench it. Throw it out of bounds. Intended for the state trooper, who couldn't hang on. Well, John Glennon, you go back to North Carolina State days. Remember, he was the quarterback when Russell Wilson was there. Wilson played the first couple of years, and then Tom O'Brien and the coaching staff there, they were trying to decide what they were going to do. Glennon was the guy who was committed full-time as Wilson was doing baseball and football, so they decided Glennon was going to be the quarterback. Wilson transferred, and Glennon had a couple of good years at NC State and set him up to come into the league and have a decent performance in his first 2 years.
And he's a very good deep ball passer, Mike. Statistics will prove that.
Charles Sims, the back, in for protection from the 22. There's a shot towards the end zone, a lot of hand fighting, and it's incomplete as Lewis Murphy battled Adam Jones.
It's a big part of this offense in Tampa Bay. Throw the ball down the field and let our big receivers go get it. Here's Murphy on a double move. Pac-Man Jones does a nice job seeing it. I think it's a good no call. Thank goodness we didn't get any type of flag there, but When you have Mike Evans, who's 6'5", Vincent Jackson, who's 6'5", Murphy's a big receiver.
He's their small guy at 6'2".
At one-on-one situations, you tell your quarterback, give these men a chance to make a big play.
Are we ganging it? Gang it? Gang. Sunday.
3rd and 20. Still 7 on the play clock.
All-out blitz.
Experienced Glennon saw it, read it, took his shot downfield. Made it all work. That is a beautiful play that ends in a Russell Shepard touchdown. A+ for the quarterback on that one.
A+ indeed. I know a lot of people in this league that would love to have Mike Glennon. It's a zero coverage blitz under serious fire from Geno Atkins. How about that throw? That's big time. The audible, the throw, puts an exclamation point on this first half for Tampa. 21-0. Assuming this 33-yard extra point goes through, Mike.
There's Jameis Winston on the sideline, pumped up for the man backing him up, Glennon. Patrick Murray. No good. He missed it to the left. It's not automatic. As you know, we've been talking about it. 3% less the opportunities to make the extra point further back. That was the 5th missed extra point as they've been pushed back. Essentially the equal of 33-yard field goals. The man who missed it, Murray, was supposed to kick off. He missed the extra point. He's not very happy because he's not going to kick off now. He was a little disappointed. Let's watch that miss. Kanan holding. Everything in the operation looked fine. It just goes off to the left. There's been a lot of conversation about moving the extra point back so it's not a 99% conversion rate as it has been when you saw the numbers from earlier. Hard to make a concrete observation on what this means in the preseason because you have some kickers missing these extra points who might not be the kicker as the year goes on. John, we spoke to Marvin Lewis, the Bengals coach, about this last night. He's on the competition committee. Although he brought up a unique point. He was against this simply because in the AFC North where they play, Cincy and Baltimore and Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, in December, it's tough to make a 33-yarder in the wind. He wanted to keep it where it was.
So do I. I don't like changing all these things. You know, I think it ruins the rhythm of a game. It's not an automatic just because it's 99%.
But isn't that good?
So is a shotgun snap. What are we going to let the quarterback have the ball back here ready to throw? You know, guys miss 2-foot putts. I've seen guys miss dunks. I just like the rhythm of the game the way it was. I don't need a lot of craziness after a touchdown.
Dalton intercepted last 2 drives, overthrows his intended receiver, Jeremy Hill, that time. It's incomplete. Gone after a sharp start, an opening drive from Cincinnati in that first preseason game against Minnesota. It's been anything but in their first 5 drives tonight.
It's been very poor. They've had penalties, turnovers, and it's important that they get something done before they get on that airplane and head home to Cincinnati. 11 total yards in the first half is uncommon for anyone.
2nd and 10 from the 20, and there's a good gain for Hill. 11 yards and the ball came out. Let's see if he's been rolled down or it's Bucs ball and a 3rd consecutive possession with a turnover. Buck ball. Tampa has recovered. It'll automatically be reviewed, but Bruce Carter comes off the pile with what for now is a fumble.
As good as Jeremy Hill is, he fumbled it 5 times last year. That ball's out. Mike Jenkins, the ex-USF Bull, strips that ball out with his right hand. And back to Lovie Smith, Mike. That's 3 turnovers tonight. You saw his Chicago Bear teams for years with Charles Tillman and Briggs and Urlacher stripping balls, running to the pile, getting it out.
They lived on that.
I'm seeing that tonight. And Lovie Smith might have a quarterback, too. He never really found that trigger in Chicago. Deep down, he's got to be very pleased.
They just wait for confirmation that in review, the replay confirmed the turnover forced by Jenkins and acquired by Carter. So Cincinnati has had it 6 times and turned it over the last 3.
Take a shot.
Ready. Ready.
Glennon thinking that it was covered. It's dropped by Charles Sims. We mentioned Glennon's in. Winston came out, and here's Lisa Salters.
Yeah, Mike. Well, obviously, Sean Glennon is in this game, but we've been told that that is a coach's decision and that Jameis Winston is not necessarily injured. Not really sure what that means, but I can tell you when he did come over after the injury, he came over to the sideline and got a very brief evaluation by the training staff. It lasted just a minute or two. As you know, he didn't go back to the locker room. The trainer sat next to him and talked to him for a while, but it appeared as if perhaps the injury isn't too significant. I can tell you also that he was on the phone when that first interception, pick 6, happened. And Mike, he didn't look injured then. He threw that telephone down and went running over with the rest of his teammates to celebrate. I think someone actually went over to him and said, hey, don't forget your ankle. But he was very excited, and that's one of the things that his teammates like about him is that he just seems to be a team guy, happy for everyone's success, and he certainly showed it during that pick 6, even though he was on the sideline with that bad ankle.
All right, Lise, thank you. Movement detected right away. That's why the defensive linemen come in.
False start. Offense, number 73, 5-yard penalty. It's still third down.
A couple of flags on Kadeem Edwards, and the Buccaneers have way too many penalties for the first quarter and a half for Lovie Smith's liking. So, John, a coach's decision could also mean, you know what, you're medically cleared, you're okay, but why are we going to throw you back in here in preseason game 2 if your ankle's not 100%?
Yeah, they got a big game next week. Preseason game number 3 against Cleveland. Get him ready for that one. Make sure he's okay.
Flag makes it 3rd and 14. Glennon gets hit as he throws, and that throws the timing off. But incomplete. Wallace Gilberry had the pressure there for Cincinnati.
Left tackle Donovan Smith. Left guard Kadeem Edwards did not see Wallace Gilberry on that stunt. And Glennon got punished. Gilberry's an excellent inside pass rusher, but you're going to see him off the left side of the screen here. 95 playing over Kadeem Edwards. Wow.
Well, Murray missed the extra point earlier. Patrick will get the opportunity for a 53-yard field goal. And he made that one. Murray was a little unhappy before after the missed extra point. A little redemption from 53 there. So Tampa Bay was 2-14 last year in Lovie Smith's first season. 2-14 get you, in all likelihood, the number 1 overall pick. They won, if you will, the tiebreaker with the Titans. So they picked number 1, just like the Colts and the Chiefs and the Texans did the last 3 years. Look what happened to those teams. Andrew Luck helped the turnaround for the Colts. The Chiefs drafted the offensive tackle Eric Fisher, but Andy Reid comes in, turns that team around. Jadeveon Clowney was the number 1 overall pick for the Texans in 2014. Bill O'Brien had a strong first season, and we'll see what happens this year with number 1 overall pick Jameis Winston as the Buccaneers try to turn around a season. John, when you look back at last year's 2-14 and study it, they weren't awful. They were close in a whole bunch of those games. It could have been a very different record with 3 or 4 plays at the end of those games.
But you are what your record says you are. And 2-14 is not good. They were 0-8 in this stadium. First time they haven't won a home game since 1976. That's the year Buccaneer football started. You're right, though. They should be better. They've got to finish games with authority. They blew all those fourth quarter leads, and what a great start for them here tonight.
Speedster Mario Alford wanted to bring that one out from 9 deep, but he brought it 25 yards. Andy Dalton didn't think he was going to be a 7-drive preseason number 2.
Well, there's been some decent things. He sees the 8-man front. They're backed up. He raises his hands, changes the play. He knows he's got one-on-one coverage with A.J. Green. Does an excellent job coming out of a fake for the first down. And then a poor throw on the interception. Look at the back checking down right over the ball. Got to tone down his aggressiveness in some obvious situations. The turnovers must be cleaned up.
Giovanni Bernard, the back. It's across the middle of Tyler Eifert. A long way towards the projections of
players hurt last year. A.J. Green, Eifert, Marvin Jones caught 10 touchdown passes 2 years ago. I have not seen Marvin Jones do much since.
This is Mohamed Sanu with the catch and the first down as he spins to the 29-yard line. His 4th year out of Rutgers. Now Mohamed Sanu Sr. He and his wife, the proud parents of a son born Friday morning. So our congratulations to Mohamed.
Keep an eye on this left tackle, Mike. He's one of our favorite players we've met. Andrew Whitworth, number 77, working against Larry English. I expect Dalton to throw the football. Let's watch this left tackle in a one-on-one pass protection situation.
From the 29 is Giovanni Bernard working the middle of the field at 35. And Bernard will gain a half dozen as the Buccaneers defense and DJ Swearinger converge.
Whitworth, the undisputed leader of the Cincinnati Bengals. He's a finisher. If you run the ball, he'll finish you. If you pass protect, he's going to be a tough guy to beat. He's lighter than I've ever seen him, 307 pounds.
He looked good when he came into the
meeting
sure
last night, didn't he? Been playing a lot of golf, he told me. How would you like to see him on a golf course?
It's a 6 handicap, he told us.
Oh,
Bernard coming to the left, got tied up with his offensive lineman, Clint Bowling, just a gain of 4 and close to the first down.
There he is. If there's a pile of bodies, usually Whitworth is going to be in it. Watch him finish these linebackers on the second level. I mean, I love that. Last year against Tampa, he pulled around the horn, he engaged, he ran his feet, pancaked the linebacker. Look at him pancake that linebacker. And he can pull. He's athletic. They drafted 2 linemen in rounds 1 and rounds 2, and the first thing he did is have him over to his house and feed him. What a mentor he is for these Cincinnati Bengals.
3rd and short. They'll put Hewitt up there and get the first down. They go close to it, but he's got it at the 39-yard line. That was interesting what you said, John. They have good tackles in Whitworth and Andre Smith, who's not playing tonight, injured. But as they get towards contract years and get older, they fortified for the future. So in the draft, the Bengals at the top go with offensive tackles. Cedric Ogbuehi out of Texas A&M, another first-round lineman from Texas A&M. He's out with a knee injury. He tore an ACL at the end of his college career. Expect him to be back later on in the year. Jake Fisher, the 2nd-round pick out of Oregon, has been bothered by a shoulder injury. They hope to get him back next week or 2. 1st and 10, Dalton from the 39, taking a shot downfield. A lot of contact, an easy call as Marvin Jones was pulled down by Mike Jenkins.
Mike Jenkins got hurt early last season, and Tampa's looking for another corner that can line up on the outside and play. It's just a straight go ball. That's an obvious PI.
Pass interference. Defense, number 24. Automatic first down at the spot of the foul.
And that's as good as a 37-yard gain, John.
Sure is. They like Marvin Jones in the red zone. 10 touchdowns. I said it 2 years ago. Most of them occurred in the red zone.
I'm sure the Bengals staff and the Cincinnati fans at home would love to see the Bengals score a touchdown and get this offense done for the night. Dalton over the middle. Incomplete as the ball was knocked out. A heavy hit on Tyler Eifert as DJ Swearinger, trying to win a job in that secondary, knocked it free.
Hey, you play Tampa 2 coverage and you're a safety. You key the quarterback, you drive on the ball, and you dislodge it from some of these receivers running down the middle of the field. Legal, vicious, and an outstanding play by the former Texan, DJ Swearinger. He's looking for a job, Mike. When you get cut, sometimes it's the best motivation you can get.
From the 24, the quick pitch, trying to get Bernard's speed to the edge. Nice cut to gain 5 yards at the 19. Daquan Bowers, a veteran out of Clemson, also trying to get a job here in this Tampa defensive final 53-man roster on the stop. It's an interesting throw, John, because you've talked to us about it so often. That throw down the middle is one quarterbacks are more willing to make given the rule changes. And Swearinger played by the rules, hit him in the strike zone and made a terrific play.
Terrific play. A.J. Green, bottom of the screen. 3rd down and 5.
Buccaneers bring 4, and that pass incomplete, intended for Green. It is Keith Tandy. As the Buccaneers are a little bit deeper in their secondary here, coming over on the defensive effort to set up a field goal attempt.
That's a nice disguise. Dalton thinks he has one-on-one coverage, but late in the down, you're going to see the free safety in the middle of the field rotate underneath A.J. Green and almost intercept this pass. Tampa's done a nice job with their disguise packages and their energy tonight, and they have frustrated the Bengals.
We mentioned that Mike Nugent is not kicking tonight. 2nd straight week that he is out with that hamstring issue. So Tom Obarski out of Concordia, St. Paul. Get a chance to put some kicks on tape, and he knocks it through. So the Bengals on the board with that 37-yarder by Obarski. Missed a 27-yarder last week. 23-3, 2:46 left of the first half, and we're done tonight. Everything that's happening today in sports you'll see on SportsCenter. John Buccigross, I'm sure, getting that fine mane of hair properly coiffed for the show, along with John Anderson. They'll have the recap, the reaction from tonight, pennant race stuff, and everything else going on in sports on SportsCenter. Of course, the news out of Green Bay for the Packers disappointing. Confirmation that Jordy Nelson, their all-pro receiver, tore his ACL in the game against Pittsburgh, and Nelson's out for the rest of the season. And it certainly changes the complexion of the race in the NFC North as Aaron Rodgers loses his favorite target for the year.
Hard to swallow. And Pittsburgh loses their center, Mark Pouncey, a couple plays later.
That, of course, impacts things in this division with 3 very good teams up there at the top. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh and Baltimore. And we left Cleveland in the hopes of the Browns, who come down here to play preseason game 3 later this week. Here goes Kalen Clay with the return, and it's shy of the 20-yard line. 1976, they've searched for that first-round quarterback. Winston, the latest. Josh Freeman had some early success, a 10-win non-playoff season. Our colleague Trent Dilfer is the winningest quarterback in Bucs history. He won 38 games. Testaverde went on to a very long, successful career. Steve Young's got a gold jacket. He's in the Hall of Fame. Doug Williams had that terrific Super Bowl run with Washington. The Bucs have
I probably should have drafted one in the first round. We never started looking for quarterbacks until the 6th round. That's probably why I'm no longer in the building. Jameis Winston, you got to be happy, though, if you're a Tampa fan, what you saw tonight. I love just watching him in pregame warm-up. The look in his eyes, the enthusiasm, his snap count, the way you can hear him. You just feel his confidence, and it's contagious. And you look forward to coming to practice every day when you have those qualities.
Certainly has changed the energy at One Buc Place right across the way here. Last play before the 2-minute warning is a catch across the middle. Nice job by Rennell Hall to hang on. And the rookie out of UCF. First down as we hit the 2-minute warning in a first half dominated by Tampa Bay. Back here in Coach Gruden's hometown, Tampa, Florida. Send it back to Bristol for the Toyota halftime. Chris Berman coming up. Recap of Jameis Winston's first half, which was impressive first couple of drives. Adam and Mort will check in. This was Schefter and Mortensen on the news of the day around the NFL, including Reggie Wayne to the Patriots. As the drama and the saga of the veteran players coming to New England to try to join Brady and Bill and get a ring continues. Reggie Wayne in Foxborough. All coming up. Toyota halftime.
Oh boy.
3 timeouts and a sack by Chris Carter. 5th year out of Fresno State, John. Very interesting hybrid player. adding a smaller speed guy to the pass rush of the Bengals.
Well, Brandon Myers at tight end. You know, sometimes you got to ask your tight end to pass protect. Not good at all from the very beginning. Some of these play-action passes ask the tight end to be involved in pass protection. You can't just run routes all the time, and Myers got beat badly there.
Bengals taking time out. They're going to try to get the ball back here, run a 2-minute drill. John, what about this defensive front for Cincinnati? They need to generate more pressure for the Bengals' success this year.
Yeah, I thought Paul Gunther did a good thing early in this game. No blitzes. Let me see my guys rush. And they didn't do a very good job early in the game. When they got their pressure, Paul Gunther created a lot of it with his calls. You saw the blitzes, some of the exotic looks. But I think some of these Bengal defensive linemen have to pick it up. They only had 20 sacks last year.
On the give to Charles Sims.
There's that 69. Number 69, Deshaun Williams, a rookie, undrafted out of Clemson. I bet you he makes the Bengals team. He flashed last week, had a sack. They compare him to Geno Atkins in some ways. He's not a tall man, but he's strong, he's stout. He plays with really good energy, and he's had a productive training camp. There's another range play by Deshaun Williams.
Final tackle, timeout taken by the Bengals. You mentioned the defensive tackle, Geno Atkins, at full speed, and the real Geno Atkins, who was healing from a knee injury last season. That could make a huge difference on the Cincinnati front this year.
He's one of the best. He is as strong as any man in pro football, and his leverage, when you're 6'5" and you got to block a man with that strength and that leverage advantage, good luck.
3rd and 16 here for the Bucs. At time there for Glennon. It's a flag down as the pass was just a bit too tall. Intended for Kenny Bell. That's the 5th-round rookie out of Nebraska, who we'll get a look at in the second half. Josh Shaw, another rookie out of USC, had the coverage.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact. Defense, number 28, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Troy Hill called there.
Troy Hill, another Cincinnati Bengal that's turned heads. I saw Troy Hill play for Oregon last year, Mike. I think he was on the field for 115 plays. He played in that no-huddle Pac-12 league. You know, he's on every special team. This kid is in shape. I do know that. And they like him in Cincinnati. He's got a real chance to be a Bengal.
That's disappointing penalty on the Bengals side. They emptied out the timeouts, trying to get the ball back. Bucs keep it, get a first down across midfield to Brandon Myers. It's a former Giant draftee, or a free agent, I should say, who was a draftee with Oakland as he got his start in the NFL.
Watch the touch on this throw. Over the corner, under the safety. Mike Glennon is going to start and play a long time in this league. He has a beautiful passing motion. He's had a lot of production that people don't know about that haven't studied Tampa.
Green silver Fresno combo. Green silver Fresno combo. Here we go.
Plays change. Slant is caught for the gain of 7 yards. It'll set up 2nd and 3 as Hall brings down his second.
Now Hall's another Central Florida player that has had a nice camp, and you see the command of Mike Glennon in this 2-minute drill.
Minute 7 turning clock. Pressure comes out of his hands quickly. Cameron Brate, first-year tight end out of Harvard, gains the first down.
I like everything about Glennon. That time it's a blitz. They pick it up. He's on time once again, and Tampa's on the move.
47 seconds till the half. That one incomplete as he tried to go back and hook up with the rookie Bell for the second time in this drive. When you were talking about production from Glennon that is unseen until you study, what do you mean by that with Mike?
Well, a lot of people think, oh, Glennon, he's not good enough. He wasn't the starter when he got here. He wasn't the starter. Josh McCown was better. But when you go back and watch the tapes, 2 years ago under Greg Schiano, he had 19 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
He had some impressive games. We had him on Monday Night Football beating Miami here.
Yes, we did.
And then last year I watched him play great and beat Pittsburgh on the road. This kid has a lot of production, 4,000 yards, 29 touchdowns. He's just getting started.
Trying to set up the screen. Here's Sims. Good read, the open field as he's brought down by Marquise Flowers, the second-year man out of Arizona. And the Bucs will burn a timeout with 34 left until the half. I think it's a good point. It's only the third year for Glennon. You've been passed over, as he told us, third camp, third time he comes in as the backup quarterback. But both years he's ended up starting games. So he's mentally prepared for what can happen in the length of a season and trying to build a career down the line. We were with Josh McCown. We saw how many stops it took until he became a number one. That was a great example for Glennon to see in his own quarterback room last year.
Yeah, and, Lovie Smith came in here last year, hired Jeff Tedford to be the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Jeff Tedford had a health problem. Marcus Arroyo becomes a coordinator. Glennon's had 3 different offensive coordinators in 3 years, and I've seen him function quite well in any system.
This is 3rd and 9. Now 5 in the pattern as he's hit. Ball comes out, flag down, and the ball recovered by Kadeem Edwards. It was Marcus Hunt who had the pressure, John, and that's big news for Cincinnati. They're waiting for this second-round pick from 2013 to show something.
Yeah, as a rookie, he didn't do much. Didn't do much last year either. Right side of your screen.
Offense, number 78. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is 4th down.
Beat Sherilis, who just got here. Sherilis came in when DeMar Dotson got hurt last week at right tackle. The ex-Indianapolis Colt, Detroit Lion. Victimized there, but Marcus Hunt in year 3 has to finish training camp with a bang. He's had some injury problems early in camp. They need another rusher from the defensive end position.
Might remember the backstory on Hunt at SMU. He was in track and field and a thrower. He was originally from Estonia, and with his track and field or the field events, his prowess there, they said, you know what, this guy should try football, and he had great success. This will be down inside the 5. Terrific job by Carl Schmitz, the backup punter. Kicked it reverse end over end.
Where is Estonia?
It is on the other side of the Atlantic, John. You want to do full geography of Eastern Europe at halftime? It would be my pleasure to.
I know it's not in Florida.
No, it's not. Well, there's one thing we're going to see in the second half that people haven't seen in almost 600 days.
A.J. McCarron.
At quarterback. Remember A.J. McCarron? 2 national championships, BCS titles at Alabama, and then lost the Sugar Bowl. We haven't seen him at quarterback since, and we're going to get a chance to see him in the second half. He was injured all of pre and regular season last year. So Andy Dalton takes a knee. Bengals take it to the locker room, and it's 23-3. Winston got rolled up on that ankle a little bit. Looks like he's moving okay as he heads to the studio. Cincinnati will get it to start the second half. We'll see A.J. McCarron. Right now you'll see Chris Berman and the Toyota halftime. Tonight football's 46th season to begin 3 weeks from tonight. Buccaneers pretty sharp in that first half, 23-3. That looked like the playoff team from the last 4 years, and the Bengals looked like the team that was a 2-win team. Bengals really struggled on offense. It was disappointing for them. Tampa Bay saw Jameis Winston, John, get off to a good start. A couple of nice drives that he engineered.
Did a good job against Cincinnati's basic defense. The Bengals didn't do too much, but Winston on a goal line boot capped off a beautiful opening drive and threw a nice deep cross off of play action. A couple beautiful seam balls, Mike, where he showed a big-time arm, but there was concern when he got that right ankle rolled up. Be interested to see how that is.
He limped around the field a little bit and limped off, but then did come back to the sideline and didn't have a lot of medical attention. We'll check with Lisa Salters before we get this second half going. As you see the numbers that Winston put up here on the night, certainly a more solid performance. And that preseason is for the discovery phase for Winston to get out there, and he struggled early on but played better at the end of the opening half against Minnesota. And this was a definite step forward in continuing to build the process.
I want to see him come out and start fast. He did that. But again, Cincinnati didn't do much early in the game defensively. I thought when the Bengals started revving up some of those blitzes, Jameis and the Buck offense struggled a little bit.
Michael Kanan kicked it. We saw Rex Burkhead, who was waiting for it. along with Gio Bernard. No return. Let's go down to the sideline and Lisa.
Yeah, Mike, well, I talked to Lovie Smith, who told me that it was his decision to take Jameis Winston out of the game. He said, I thought he did some nice things. I also thought he had done enough, so I took him out. And I asked him, so is Jameis Winston injured? He said, no, he's not injured. It was my decision to take him out of the game. Mike?
All right, well, that's good news for the Buccaneers as Winston will get set for preseason game number 3. It was Mario Alford, by the way, not Gio Bernard on that kick catch and touchback. And here's A.J. McCarron, who was the runner-up to Jameis Winston for the Heisman back in 2013. First snap in a game as a Bengal. Gives it to Burkhead, and Rex runs to the left. The flag down after he gains 8 yards. Ron Torbert and his crew had to enforce 14 penalties in the first half, 11 of them on the Buccaneers. Andy Dalton picked a couple of times, 6 of 13 in that first half for 46 yards.
There are 2 fouls, both by the offense. Holding, offense, number 72. That penalty's declined. Holding offense number 72 is declined. Holding offense number 11. That penalty is accepted. 10 yards. Replay first down.
All right, so there is A.J. McCarron. I mentioned twice. Leading Alabama to the BCS National Championship 2012, 2013, and the Sugar Bowl in 2014. The last time we saw him play. So, John, Bengals very interested to see what he can do when the lights are live and the defense is real.
Yeah, he's got a linebacker's mentality. He's got some really good leadership traits. Played in some big games, obviously, at Alabama, but he's got to prove to everybody that he can throw the ball at this level. He's had some arm ailments that are well documented. Let's see where he is.
That's why he didn't play pre and regular season last year, the shoulder tendonitis. Backed up at 1st and 20, a draw with Burkhead. Initial contact leads to a tackle from William Golston, veteran defensive lineman. And just a gain of a yard. John, we may see Burkhead with the first-team Bengals offense in a unique role, even as a slot receiver at times.
He's an interesting man. They moved him to the slot last year with all the injuries and found out that he's not only good at it, he's outstanding. He can pick up blitzes. He can run the ball. Going back to his combine days when he was at Nebraska, he had a short shuttle. Mike, you didn't even see him run it. He was so quick. They like him here.
Gain of 1, and McCarron will throw. There's a penalty flag down as A.J. takes off and gains 3 yards to the 14-yard line. Danny Lansana making the tackle. Danny was in a starting linebacking spot, but when Quan Alexander, the rookie, was moved to middle linebacker, it bumped Bruce Carter, the veteran acquisition in the offseason, to the outside. And give Danny a chance to operate almost as a 4th linebacker for this group.
Illegal formation. Offense. Number 64. Line up in the backfield. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is 3rd down.
It's a good thing they have that 8th official tonight, Mike, because they haven't missed anything. Matter of fact, they've seen all the penalties that I can take.
Hard. We're just getting to the part of the game where the flags usually start to add up in the preseason. You see the 8 officials. There are 2 different configurations. One is 3 behind the quarterback. 3rd and 16. McCarron climbs the pocket, underthrown and incomplete. He was trying to get it out to Greg Little. DJ Swearinger, big hit earlier, breaks that one up, and it will be a punt.
Well, you throw that ball in this league. DJ Swearinger has already proven he can do some real damage. That ball is late, not much on it. Another ugly series, excuse me, Mike, by the Bengal offense.
It's all right. Kalen Clay back. Huber will kick it. 48 on the kick. Clay from the 37. Returns it 7 to the 44-yard line. Bucs will take over there. Minute 44 into the third quarter. Quarter where we'll get our first look at McCarron as a Bengal. ESPN NFL preseason specials brought to you by NFLshop.com. Find the largest selection of NFL products at the official store of the NFL. It's the good ship Captain Memo, sailing out of Clearwater Beach for 37 years. Don't know if you and the family have ever gone there to do the chicken dance, John?
I have.
You know.
I surely have. I'm going to do that chicken dance with the next penalty you see out there. I love that boat.
Mike Glennon stays in at quarterback for Tampa Bay, and at his own 44. Mentioned earlier, they have 3 quarterbacks on the roster. Seth Lobato is the third. Mike James gets the edge and is pushed out of bounds after a gain of about 16. As a third-year man out of Miami with the carry. Flag down again.
Holding. Offense. Number 80. 5-yard, 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
That's a bad penalty by Bell. You're a rookie receiver. You're trying to make the football team. Can't grab people by their jersey. Lovie Smith, even though the scoreboard says 23-3, has to be disgusted with all these offensive penalties. 12 penalties, most of them on offense. Ridiculous.
10 on the offense. An 11 penalty first half. Glennon, there you see over the top. Look at him drop the ball over the linebacker. That's a great angle. Live throw to see Brandon Myers pulling that first down at the Bengals 45.
This kid can throw. Watch him in the first half. I mean, Mike, this is an all-out blitz with Geno Atkins beating down on you. Throwing it off your back foot. Try that at home. How about this throw? The touch over the corner under the safety. You can't throw the ball better than Mike Glennon. From the shotgun, from under the center, all this kid needs is a chance.
45. Draw with James to the right. He'll gain 3 yards. Chris Lewis Harris on the tackle. Of course, this is going to be Winston's job. Lovie Smith came out right at the start of training camp and said, no hijinks here. We're going to throw the number 1 pick right in there right away, which has been the trend and the way things have gone of late. But you remember when Matt Schaub was down in Atlanta and apprenticing as Michael Vick took over that team. Eventually, Schaub was ready to be the guy and moved on to Houston and got the starting opportunity. And Glennon's cognizant of what his path will be here over the next couple of years. 1 yard there on the run for James. Either something happens here, you play right away. As the backup, he's learned the last 2 years you can come right in. Or part B of that is you play it out, your contract's done, you start looking around. We know every year people are looking for quarterbacks.
Yeah, he's learning a good offense. This Dirk Cutter is a very good offensive coach. Glennon very excited about the system change. It's right up his alley. And when Dirk Cutter shows cut-ups of his Atlanta Falcon offense, he watches Matt Ryan, who is Glennon's idol, execute the plays, and it's helped him learn it.
3rd and 6. Bengals bring 5. Glennon's got time. He's got a first down. Just shy of the 31-yard line. It is Adam Humphries, rookie out of Clemson, who caught 127 balls for the Tigers.
Watch this blitz, Mike. I mean, this Glennon, he just stands in there like there's nobody around him. Incredible poise for a young quarterback. And he has Tampa Bay on the march again.
Set some franchise rookie records in that season 2 years ago as an all-rookie quarterback with his performance. Nice job of picking through the hole down to the 24. First down gain of 7 for James.
See that counter play? Look at that Tampa Bay huddle, number 75. Masafilo. Where is Masafilo? He's number 65. See, he moved from defense to offense, and he's playing guard for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I give this kid a lot of credit. How many guys can move from defense to offense and learn how to do this quickly?
Matthew Masafilo in his 4th year out of Stanford. James on 2nd and 3.
James on the carry.
With no gain there. John, you brought up Dirk Cutter. What kind of a fit is Dirk Cutter as an offensive coordinator with a young quarterback room? Winston his first year, Glennon his third.
I think he's really good. You know, he worked with Blaine Gabbert as a rookie in Jacksonville. Whether it worked or not, he's had experience doing this. And he was a head coach in college,
right,
at Boise, at Arizona State. So he's used to dealing with young quarterbacks. And he's proven no matter where Cutter is, he can move the football.
Third and a couple. Glennon feeling the pressure and too late. Chris Carter again with that initial pressure has done a very nice job. Had a sack earlier and helped force that one. That will be credited to Sean Williams.
Well, he's eating these tight ends alive, and that's a bad sack by Glennon. You got to step up in the pocket. Don't drift backwards. But you said it, Chris Carter, 2 sacks. Both times he's beaten Buccaneer tight ends in pass protection. Don't want to drift backwards and make this a 50-yard field goal. Poor job by Glennon on that play.
Patrick Murray made one from 53. That one is wide left from 50.
Kick is no good.
Couple of kickers in camp here. Murray's missed an extra point and missed a 50-yarder there. A.J. McCarron operate on this drive. While we do that, Lisa Salters with the Buccaneer.
Thank you, Mike. I'm with Vincent Jackson. Vincent, what did you think of your young quarterback in this game so far?
He did well, you know what I mean? Obviously, we struggled a little bit in that second and third drive with some penalties and whatnot, but the way we moved the ball down the field on that first drive, getting some points on the board, that's going to be big for us, being able to start fast. Our defense is going to play well this year.
What did you see out of him tonight that was maybe different than the first preseason game?
You know, he just continued to get better each and every week in practice. You know what I mean? He's getting more composed, getting more comfortable out there. And when we're able to change up the tempo and dictate to the defense, man, that's his strength. So he's going to continue to excel at that.
What has impressed you most about him?
His intelligence, it really is. I mean, his football IQ is amazing. You know what I mean? He stepped in here from week 1, and he's picked up this offense. We put a lot on the quarterback's plate, and he's been able to handle all that, making the calls, you know, sights and hots and things like that, and he makes everybody around him better.
But he's still young.
He is.
What have you seen that tells you that he can handle this?
The fact that I think, you know, playing at a high level like he did on the college level, coming to this, it's not too big for him. You can see that he comes out here and he's composed. Every time he gets in that huddle, you know, you feel that energy from him, that he's ready to go. And no matter if he makes a mistake or something goes bad, he steps right back in and he wants to win.
He says he looks to you as one of his mentors. What advice have you given him?
You know what, I just told him to just make simple plays. You know what I mean? Don't force anything. You know, you got good players around you. We got a great system here this year, bringing Dirk Cutter in, and we're going to be successful. All we got to do is not turn the ball over, take care of the ball. Again, our defense is going to play very well this year, so he just needs to be smart and take care of the ball.
What's it like for you, a veteran, having to adjust your game to this rookie?
It's been fun for me, you know what I mean? Being able to help him, you know, mentor young guys. You got some young receivers, and the way Jameis has just come out here and really been competitive and really, you know, taking hold of this offense is it's been fun to play with him.
Thank you. Good luck this season.
Appreciate it.
Mike.
All right, Lisa, thank you. Mario Alford didn't hang on to that crossing pattern, the first good ball McCarron's thrown in his couple of series.
Well, Alford's got to catch that ball. We've heard about how fast he is, how they're trying to get him the ball. Somebody needs to make a play for the Cincinnati Bengals offensively. Good luck when you fall behind in the down and distance. 2nd and 20.
Burkhead on the screen. Shifty move, a ton of Buccaneers outflanking that play, including Mike Jenkins. And just a gain of a yard to the 31-yard line.
Watch these Tampa Bay Buccaneers on defense. They're going to let their defensive linemen check to a stunt where the defensive line will all move different directions based on the backfield set. A lot of communication on defense. They're going to come after the young quarterback, A.J. McCarron, on 3rd and long. Watch Sid Berry, veteran defensive end, and his fellow Buccaneers tee off.
3rd and 18, need to get to midfield, and A.J. McCarron throws underneath. Then on the cross and on the run, it's Greg Little. 4 yards shy of the first down. DJ Swearinger, who we know can hit, has come up with multiple big hits.
Well, this is a vision defense. That was a design block screen, and you'll see Swearinger on the left side of your screen. Finish this play off. DJ Swearinger, we saw him hit at South Carolina. I saw him hit for the Houston Texans, and he's laid some lumber down tonight.
Leonard Johnson was the injured Buccaneer. Didn't get up. Played nickel for this team last year. Injury timeout in Tampa. John Buccigross, John Anderson will stand by for you and have a Sports Center as soon as we're done. Full recap of not just what happened here tonight in Tampa as we get to the end of week 2 of the preseason, but everything else that's gone on in sports. Sports Center coming up after the game. Huber with the kick. Receiver gets out of the way, and the ball goes through the end zone and touchback. You know, a lot of great stuff on ESPN, John, as we have 2 flags down again. I know you were quick to point that out.
Start doing that dance.
The chicken dance? You promised the chicken dance for another flag, but I think we're before us earlier this afternoon, getting ready for the game, I was watching the Little League World Series. Our crew in Williamsport doing a great job. You remember your Little League days?
I sure do. I was a pretty good player. West Side Lions, Bloomington, Indiana. Yeah. I'm telling you, I was a shortstop. Oh, my goodness.
Look at that.
Look at this young man.
Man, does that look like your son? Wow. I didn't see that picture. Is your brother Jay in here somewhere?
My brother Jay's right there. He was the ball boy. There I am. I was a shortstop. The West Side Lions. We had a guy named Marco Jacobson, Brad Taylor. I can still see Darren O'Deer throwing guys out.
You remember everybody.
Oh, man. If you're a young kid, go play. You know, some of these young kids looking for something to do. Youth sports in this country needs a jolt in the arm. Go play sports. Have some fun. Some of those memories, I can still remember all my teammates.
That was pretty cool. You did rattle off a bunch of names.
I didn't even have to think about that, Mike.
I know you're very passionate about that, and kids getting involved in youth sports around America. Funding's tough in a lot of municipalities, a lot of school districts. It's the time of year when kids are getting involved in their fall school sports. Here's the run to the left by Mike James across the 10 to the 13-yard line. Some great experiences. You know, this NFL month at USA Football is encouraging a lot of kids to get involved. The Heads Up football program and a lot of youth football roots that have come out of this state and turned into some great careers.
Oh, you aren't kidding.
You go around Florida on a Friday night, there are so many terrific high school games being played. Glennon remains in after the gain of 3 by James. That pressure is picked up and the pass is incomplete. Another flag down in the secondary.
You want to be an NFL back? Watch this blitz pickup. Watch this blitz pickup, number 25.
James again.
Defense, number 49. 5-yard penalty for the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Marquise Flowers was the guy who was putting the pressure on. James had to step up and save his quarterback a shot.
I'm a running back coach. I show that play, start the meeting with it. From that depth, from the I formation to make that kind of pickup just shows you how bad this young man wants to play.
Would you do that as a position coach?
Absolutely.
That's a 4th string back.
4th string back, coming off a tough injury a couple years ago. 7 yards deep in the I formation. He picks that blitz up. That's impressive.
From the 18, here is James to the right. Seeks space back, and James gains 13 with all the ground that he covered in the tight quarters there.
Well, you saw him bounce it to the outside. There's nothing there. He keeps his feet alive in the hole and cuts it back. We saw James a couple years ago on Monday Night Football have a great game, but he got hurt right before the first half. Watch his feet. They never stop. Good vision and nice effort by this Buccaneer offensive line, finishing blocks on the backside.
James again runs to the 44-yard line. Tim Wright was in there throwing a block. It's an interesting story that the Buccaneers have with a couple of players, because Logan Mankins, who was with the Patriots, was traded to Tampa for Tim Wright. Wright goes to New England. He's part of the Patriots season, wins the Super Bowl championship, catches a half dozen touchdowns from Brady, and now he's back here in Tampa, and Mankins is still here. Glennon had the pass rush picked up, and it's complete just shy of the first down to Cameron Brate. Caught a ball in the first half, tight end from Harvard. You pointed it out earlier with Mankins. Patriots won the Super Bowl the year before he got there, and then the year he left. So he had all that great run with New England and no rings to come out of there.
That's not right. Mankins can play better than he did a year ago. I think he'll assert himself more as a leader in the locker room, and he'll be acclimated to the heat, to the surroundings. He'll be a much better Buccaneer this year.
This is Bobby Rainey getting to the edge, and Rainey gets 4 yards out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
Bobby Rainey. Mike, he helps us out. You know those Gruden QB camp shows you like to watch where we bring the quarterbacks in? We go out, we throw passes to all these different receivers, and Bobby Rainey never misses a day. This kid loves to play. Western Kentucky, struggled to make the Ravens team, kept practicing, kept catching passes, has made the team, and here he is to close out the action for the Buccaneers.
From their own 46, that ball slipped out of the hands by Glennon. He caught it. Now he's taking off. Oh, saw that hit coming. He couldn't. Shiloh Keogh.
Well, he did a 360. He got disoriented. He turned around, and Keogh said, K.O.
Yep.
You see what Glennon's doing, though. He's trying to run the football, and the Bengals continue to come into these 8-man fronts, but this ball slips out of his hands. He has a presence to catch it, and look out.
Shiloh Keogh.
I like that.
Had it measured. Yeah, you know, Glennon could have thrown that ball as a forward pass because it slipped out of his hand with the empty hand. Thus was a fumble, not a forward pass. So he recovered his own fumble. He could have legally gone and thrown a forward pass downfield. After the sack, it's an incomplete pass as it was in the hands of Dye for a moment. We have a flag deep in the secondary.
Dante Dye from Heidelberg.
You know where that is, right?
Yes, I do.
Ohio?
Holding. Defense. Number 41. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
So again, Mike Glennon standing in the pocket under intense fire, making accurate throws down the field. I thought Dye could have come up with that ball. But watch Glennon use his snap count and read the deployment of these Bengals, because Cincinnati continues to bring one of the two safeties down into the box and make it difficult for Tampa to run the ball. Back out there that time, and you can see how easy it is to run it.
The midfield run to the left, gain of 7 yards for Mike James. Duron Smith, rookie out of Fresno.
Tampa wants to run the ball, run the clock, and end this night. But Cincinnati is going to bring one of these two safeties down, and Glennon's going to audible to a run away from the safety or audible to a pass. Watch it.
This is something Dirk Cutter will do. Did it with Atlanta, jump into a no-huddle offense.
There you saw a safety came down on the left. He ran to the right. And in a short yardage situation, I'd be surprised if they don't run it again.
Deshaun Williams made the tackle. Player to watch for the Bengals. This is a Bengal team that's going to turn loose some quality players. Not enough roster spots for the quality built on this roster. Marvin Lewis, the head coach. Duke Tobin in their personnel department. It deserves a lot of the credit for the personnel they've procured over the last 4 or 5 years.
Certainly does.
Third and 2. Rainey got the edge, got the first down. The flag down as Rainey gains a dozen. Stopped short before he got hit.
Good quickness by Bobby Rainey, and they might have gotten Kenny Bell again.
This would be accepted penalty number 21. 14 of them on Tampa. Mostly on their offense.
Holding. Offense. Number 80. 10-yard penalty. Replay. Third down.
2 penalties on Kenny Bell blocking the perimeter. Well, I don't know about some of these calls. Calling everything tonight.
Your reaction to flags you're not sure about in this stadium is a lot nicer now than it used to be.
Yeah. They came up with a nickname for me here. I got so mad.
Is that the Chucky nickname?
I guess so, yeah.
3rd and 5. And they'll pick up the first down through the air with Adam Humphries.
I'm impressed with Glennon. And here's a time where Cincinnati, you see number 26, Josh Shaw out there, the ex-USC Trojan. We talked about 28, Troy Hill, some young members of this Bengals secondary, and jobs are on the line.
I was thinking that when we saw Rainey in the game carrying a moment ago, it was a preseason game. We were in Baltimore's camp, I think it was, 4 years ago when Rainey was a rookie. So, you know, this guy belongs somewhere in the league. Oh, Glennon put it in a perfect spot, and the flag is drawn as Dante Dye trying to catch that on the way down. It's a wonderful throw by Glennon.
Glennon, check his deep ball passing statistics.
Defense, number 37. Automatic first down at the spot of the foul.
No doubt about it. Clearly pass interference, and Dante Dye from Heidelberg, the student princes
in Ohio. There you go from Pylon Cam. As Chris Lewis Harris had the hand on his arm early and pulled him down. Glenn hit his prior 5 passes, that perfect one there in terms of placement. Likely the final play of the third, and it's Mike James. And all these big guys who've been out here sweating in this humid August night have to trudge down the field 98 yards. Second and goal from the 1. Been a good night for the Buccaneers. After 3, they lead 23-3. Fourth quarter here in Tampa. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters. Preseason is half over after tonight. This is game 33 of the 65, right in the middle of the preseason schedule. Everybody plays 4, and then you have that Hall of Fame game. Minnesota-Pittsburgh playing the 5th game. And it all starts for real in 2.5 weeks when the Steelers and Patriots open the season. Dominique Brown is the back here at the goal line of the 4th quarter. And on this second down, he is stopped. Going to be a lot of tape, John, for the Bengals defense and the Bucs offense to review. Tampa's run 24 more plays in this game than Cincinnati.
Yes, indeed. And
now 25, sorry.
See if Dirk Cutter runs Dominic Brown behind Joey Yosefa, the rookie from Hawaii, at fullback.
From 2, the give is to Brown. And he is stopped just short of the goal line.
It's a reverse pivot, lead isolation, penetration off the edge, and be surprised if Dirk Cutter, Lovie Smith don't run the exact same play.
Don't get a ton of live goal line snaps and stuff. It's a great opportunity to see these players in that role. To Brown. And he stopped. Good penetration by P.J. Dawson, rookie 3rd-round pick out of TCU.
There's P.J. Dawson. He struggled last week against the Giants. The Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year makes an impact on 4th and goal.
(23-3). Buccaneer fans who've waited a while here to see another successful team get this thing going in the right direction. Of course, my partner helped lead this Tampa franchise to its glory day in the Super Bowl championship. Some good playoff teams. A couple of 9 and 7 seasons, John's last 2 years. Since then, 3 coaches, 6 years, a total of 30 wins. Second worst in the league. Only Jacksonville worst, 29. A.J. McCarron from his own 1, trying to get out of the end zone. Looks to be a safety, and it is. Danny Lansana.
Lansana came out of nowhere. It's about his 5th different team. He's found a home in Tampa Bay, and they're going to run the ball right off that left side. And watch Lansana, the ex-Connecticut Husky, stuff it. Tampa Bay has improved their linebacking core. They added Bruce Carter from the Dallas Cowboys. They drafted a young man we've talked about from LSU, but Lansana is a good player as well.
Get on those safeties. The whole ball has to come out. Cedric Pierman-Carey didn't come close. It's a safety. Ron Werner had a 24-yard interception return for a touchdown in the second quarter. And Danny Lansana with the tackle in the end zone. So the defense has put up a touchdown and a safety here for the Buccaneers. 25-3. And we'll get the free kick from the punter Kevin Huber from his own 20-yard line.
Good defense, a good running game. Two good signs to help the young quarterbacks. 68 total yards for Cincinnati tonight.
60-yard free kick pulled in by Clay. Up the middle and knifed down at the 37-yard line. James Wilder Jr., the son of the Buccaneers' great running back, with that tackle. Lisa's ready with Andy Dalton.
Thank you, Michael. Andy, it was a tough night for you starters. What was not clicking tonight?
Well, we just didn't get into a rhythm. I think that was it. We had chances for plays, and we had a couple turnovers that hurt us. And so, good thing this is preseason. There's a lot of tape that we can learn from, and I think that's the big thing to take away from tonight.
Looking ahead to the regular season, you finally have all of your offensive weapons back. How good can your offense be?
Yeah, I mean, we've just got to put it all together, and that's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to build the consistency and just kind of build that rhythm. And we feel like we've got a potential to be really good, but we got to go out and show that we're capable of doing it.
You've said this preseason, one of your points of emphasis to really take over as the leader of this team, that it's your time. Why is now the time, and why? And how do you do that?
It's not that it hadn't been the time before. It's just as I've grown and as I've become more entrenched in this team, I think it's necessary for us to get where we want to go. And so I'm excited about what we have. Obviously we want to play better than we played tonight, but again, it's a good tape to learn from.
And that playoff monkey that everyone talks about, for you, it's not about just that one playoff win.
Right, yeah. I mean, you don't play this game to win one playoff game. That's what I was telling y'all yesterday. It's it's not about that. Obviously, we'd love to win a playoff game and get that monkey off our back, but we got to earn our way to get that back there. It's not easy to get there, and so that's what you don't play. Like I said, you don't play for one playoff win. You play to win the Super Bowl.
All right, thanks for your time. Good luck this season, Andy.
Yeah, thank you.
Mike, back to you.
10-5-1 last year. 40 wins, John, in 4 years as a starting quarterback. And the folks in Cincinnati will get on Dalton. They want to see better play out of his position. Seth Lobato's in at quarterback here for Tampa. First year out of Northern Colorado, and Lobato completes it to Adam Humphries, his third catch of this second half. Tampa Bay, all the quarterbacks they've tried, they've had their entire franchise history. They don't have a quarterback who's won 40 games in his career. Dalton's done it in 4 years for Cincinnati. It's perspective. Of course, Bengals want to see success. They want to get playoff victories, but there are a dozen teams in the league who've had a messed up quarterback situation while these guys have had Dalton's success.
Oh, he's thrown 15,000 yards and 99 touchdowns, and like you said, 40 wins. I ask you this, who are you going to call, Ghostbusters? I mean, who are you going to get, Mike? If you don't like Andy Dalton, what's your solution to that? Paul Dawson. I'll tell you, Dawson has made about 4 impact tackles in this game.
He knows he did not play well in that prior preseason game. Like you said, John, a third-round pick out of TCU who was not known for his timeliness during his collegiate days, so the Bengals knew they were going to have to get this guy with the program, be on him. Played in the Big 12 as well, where he's the Defensive Player of the Year, and he played in a lot of open space, the way the Big 12 plays offense. Now you got to play in those confined spaces as an NFL linebacker.
And Paul Gunther, the defensive coordinator, told me he reminds him a little bit of Vontaze Burfict, a physical tone setter that he really likes.
From their own 48, slant by Lobato is thrown and caught for the first down by Dante Dye. Well, we mentioned, John, the quarterbacks over the years, the Buccaneers, that no one in their franchise history has started and won 40 games. We mentioned Trent Dilfer, 38. Doug Williams, 33, and Brad Johnson led your group to the Super Bowl championship, 26 wins. It's the only team in the league that has never had one man start at quarterback and win 40 games.
I feel like you're trying to depress me or something, Mike.
I mentioned Brad Johnson. That was kind of the, dust off your ring, take
those
a victory
three
lap.
quarterbacks you showed, all world champions. That's saying something. How many teams can say that?
Play was down before the ball came out on the carry by Dominique Brown.
Roach, the ex-Nebraska Cornhusker. Look at that Buccaneer fan. He's staying till the end. Gotta love this Tampa Bay fan base.
The loyalty of these Bucs fans. You talked about it when we came to the facility the other day. The need of Winston to hit the reset button, get the juice, get the excitement back going in this franchise. You know what it was like when you guys had it rolling here. Those good defensive players, the Super Bowl championship. This run to the left with Brown. Half dozen.
Excuse me, Mike. Lovie Smith came in here, and he had a really difficult thing happen on the offensive side of the ball. His offensive coordinator got sick, and that's hard on any new head coach. And he's also implementing his system, and his system takes a certain kind of player, and he has to get those players in here through the draft, in free agency. They brought in 3 or 4 free agents that didn't work out. Josh McCown, Michael Johnson, Anthony Collins. What I love about what Lovie Smith has done is he released all of them. You don't save a bad idea in this business. If they can't play, don't fit your program, move on and get some new players. And I thought that showed a lot of guts by he and Jason Light, the general manager of the Bucs.
Timeout taken for delay a game. We'll step out. I know that place. The ESPN NFL preseason special brought to you by new Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. 4 in the morning, my guy's there doing his video. Look at all those tapes.
I love it, man. Look at Al Davis telling me, hit the road.
Collection of footballs, pictures. This is John's office up on the board, drawing up some stuff for Eagles and Falcons. Get our team ready for our Monday night opener. FFCA, Fired Football Coaches Association.
You know what's funny? Monty Kiffin knocked on the door the other day.
Did he really?
Old defensive coordinator.
Look out. Snap over the head of Lobato. And the first-year quarterback out of Northern Colorado thought he had it there for a second. Now he finally secures it.
You know, Mike, I'm at the FFCA, and...
He really knocked on the door?
I hear this noise out there. I open it up, and there's Monty Kiffin, my old defensive coordinator, no longer in Dallas. He goes, hey, I heard you got films to look at. You got things to do.
Really?
The next day, 2 days later, Greg Schiano, the ex-coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm saying, hey, guys, the Glazers got it right. They got rid of all of us, you know? But what a place the FFCA is. Fired football coaches come from all over, knock on the door. There's work to be done.
Film to be broken down. And it's great. We had a fun time there. Thanks for the breakfast you served as well when we came. I had to buy bagels. It was great. Good to be here in Tampa.
We need some toiletries as well.
We'll send it down to you. Halfway through the fourth quarter. Who knows what we might say. Football month. The Bucs, the Bengals, the NFL celebrating youth football participation at every level. Over 1 million middle and high school athletes nationwide. Over 250,000 registered for Heads Up Football. Celebrate youth football players around the country. Visit playfootball.com to learn more. Buccaneers donated 1,760 total tickets. 50 youth were on the field pregame, 30 during the national anthem. Chance they may not get during the regular season. A.J. McCarron has not shown much in his first couple of drives. Gets it to Tyler Croft, a gain of a dozen for the third-round pick, rookie out of Rutgers.
They like Tyler Croft. He had a number of catches 2 years ago. That number fell off a little bit last year at Rutgers, but he's a good blocker. He's a quality receiver. He's 260 pounds, and they think he's got a big upside. I'd like to see McCarron pushed the ball down the field. So far, we've seen nothing but checkdowns and screens.
Marvin Lewis telling us last night that Croft has been, quote, exceptional in camp for him. There's McCarron flushed left and throws it right back to Croft, who didn't get his feet down inbounds. Incomplete. He broke him down getting prepared for the draft, coach.
Yeah, Tyler Croft came out early. A lot of people thought he would stay in school. A good route runner, had a lot of production, over 40 catches 2 years ago. How about this formation for the Scarlet Knights? But Croft has proven in training camp that he can block. He proved at the collegiate level that he can catch. He's obviously a quick study. He's learned this Bengal offense. He's going to be an asset to their 2 and 3 tight end sets this year.
That Rutgers team last year went to more of a pounding the ball type of offensive style on the ground. That helped the evaluation of Croft, who catches this one, yard and a half shy of the first down, 40-yard line. So he had to put his hand in the ground, get the physical part of playing tight end. And one thing when you talk to NFL coaches here about young players right now, the evaluation process is so difficult with all the spread football out there. So if you get somebody in a system like that, a lot easier to project how he's going to do in the league, and Croft fit that bill. A.J. McCarron with 3rd and 2 against the 4-man rush. Cedric Pierman, veteran, has been around in this league, gains 5. He'll have a first down.
It's a good read by A.J. McCarron on 3rd down and 2. Moore sat down on the little spot route. He felt Pierman outflank him in the flat, but nice job by McCarron, thinking on his back foot, making a good accurate throw for the first down. And Pierman finds a way every year to make this Bengal team. He led them in special teams tackle once again last year.
A snap so important for McCarron. Didn't play in the pre or the regular season last year. Pumped and tried to take a shot down the field. Coverage was busted, but he couldn't drop it between the 2 defensive players as he tried to hit Denarius Moore, former Raider in his 5th year out of Tennessee.
That's the hole you look for in this Tampa 2, between the corner and the safety. And McCarron tries to drop the ball underneath the corner and between the safety, but there's just nothing on the throw. He had him, just missed him. That's what I want to see A.J. do, get some completions down the field, prove he can throw the ball at this level.
Zone 46. The former Alabama quarterback throws for a gain of 3. He's shy of midfield. Alabama quarterbacks, John. They've been
Stabler, Namath, and Starr. Look at that alumni of Alabama quarterbacks.
Championship quarterbacks, successful in the NFL, but since 1988, last to win a game as a starting quarterback out of Alabama in the NFL, Jeff Rutledge in 1987. So it's been since '88 that an Alabama quarterback has started and won an NFL game. McCarron's throw to Pierman, complete, first down into Tampa territory at the 43-yard line.
It's a Tampa 2 mindset. I used to tell our quarterbacks, when you see this coverage, you have to have the mindset of checking the ball down. That's where some of the vulnerability is. The middle linebacker is going to run right down the middle of the field, and it's going to make it very difficult to find work down there. You've got to throw the ball underneath, and that's what Tampa Bay is forcing Cincinnati to do, to run this clock down.
Good timing on that slant route. Jake Kumaro with the catch. Rookie out of Wisconsin Whitewater. His dad, Eric, I remember, a linebacker in the league. Kumaro is a D3 star on the national champion perennial team, Wisconsin Whitewater. Pierman gains 5 on that one. We mentioned that an Alabama quarterback hasn't won a start since Rutledge back in '87. He had Brody Croyle start 10, lose the ball for the Chiefs. Greg McElroy had 1 start for the Jets and lost. And Greg's now on our team as he's on the SEC network and our college football coverage.
There's Wilder.
James Wilder Jr. runs for the first down.
Local kid out of Plant High School right here in Tampa. His dad was a great player for the Buccaneers. Not good, great. Good enough to be in the rafters, arguably.
6,000 yards James Wilder had, the all-time leading rusher in Buccaneers history. There's Kumaro, so a lot of second-generation players involved here. The first down to the 5-yard line. Here are the numbers for James Wilder Sr. Back through the 80s.
Got all the records. You can see it right there. And there were some games that we threw it to him as much as we handed it to him. There's another Wilder.
And Wilder scores in Tampa. That's pretty cool. And James Wilder Jr. played at Florida State. And A.J. McCarron leads that drive down the field. They'll go for 2 after the first touchdown of the night for Cincinnati.
Good double team at the point of attack, and it's just a good old-fashioned one-back power play. And James Wilder cuts it back for 6. Nice drive by McCarron, taking what the defense gave him and putting the only touchdown of this game on the board for Cincinnati.
So the Bengals under 100 yards for most of the game. Swing it out to Wilder. This is a running play with a backwards pass. Wilder dives and goes over the pylon, over the top of it for 2. Good for him. As he comes back to where his dad was a star.
I see that pylon cam. He went right over the top of it. Watch this, Mike.
There he is. Oh, knocked it out. He got it in for 2. 25-11 Bucs. Well, we mentioned pylon cam. Cameras looking at all the different angles, seeing kind of cameras that you have, those in-car cameras in racing coverage. Well, some pylon camera looks, including that last touchdown. There's one looking right through the top, and you can clearly see that Wilder dove inside the pylon as you look straight up and crossed the pylon and the plane of the goal, I should say, for the touchdown. Some interesting looks there. You know, I mean, Johnny, think about it. Bill Belichick talked about it, and it was one of the things that was brought up at the league meetings this year when they do all the votes of the competition committee and all the teams, the conversation of, is there a way to standardize some cameras so that you're always looking down the goal line, you're always looking down the sideline, and no matter what game, because a little inside baseball, depending on the network covering the game and how many people around the country are seeing that game, the camera complement is different. So you might not have that exact replay down the line from the angle that's the telling angle, depending on how many people are getting that game seen in their local markets. Kenny Bell returning here, rookie out of Nebraska's had a tough day with a couple of holding penalties. Got it to the 12. So Belichick said you should put cameras in permanent spots. It was brought up, wasn't approved, but I think that's something they'll talk about down the line over the next few years. Sports Center coming up after the game. Our man Ron Jaworski's back in the studio. He's watching the Jameis Winston performance from tonight. Jaws will break down eye manipulation and all the stuff that the guru of quarterbacks takes care of so well. And Jaws Phillies didn't have a good night. The Mets hit a team record number of homers, including 2 from the man who's played the second most games in Mets history. If you don't know who that is, you'll see on SportsCenter. John Butchergross, John Anderson coming up after the game. Buccaneers try to run this out. Timeout taken by Cincinnati. Here with 2:35 to go. John, what do we see from that? From Winston?
I thought he saw the field pretty good. He looked off the strong safety, found his tight end on a 10 to 12 yard pivot. Then he read the clear out. He saw his wide receiver clear out the deep zone. He found Vincent Jackson on a deep cross. He made a couple nice throws in tight windows. A lot of this work he got done was against a conventional 4-man rush. You got to be pleased with that. But they have a lot of work to do with picking up blitzes, eliminating penalties. Those two things, not as good. But he did make some nice throws and move the football team tonight early.
And Kirk Cutter's been impressed with his football. They threw him everything from an XO standpoint, and Jameis has been able to handle it quite well. Robato's still the quarterback, hands there to Dominique Brown. You know, Jameis Winston and his young days in football, as Cincinnati is going to stop it here again with a timeout. Early on, he became a student of the game at a very young age, diving into the lexicon of football and getting an understanding. There was a quarterback camp that he went to at an early age that his dad encouraged him, don't just go, learn what you need to learn to be a quarterback. So he came up with all these traits and characteristics like leadership, dedication that we all talk about with quarterbacks, but also XO stuff. There's cover three, what the meaning of each defense is. And John, when you ask him stuff, it goes back to Hueytown Middle School in Alabama, and he spits out what each defense is meant to do. So he comes in with an understanding of the position.
Yeah, just asking him some specific questions. He had the answers to them. The thing I like about him is he's continuing to learn. A lot of young guys seem to have all the answers sometimes, but Jameis is a sponge, and he is eager to learn every day.
Lobato throwing on 3rd and 5. First down is picked up, and Cameron Brate continues his good evening. And a final timeout taken by Cincinnati with 2:19 to go. John, this is a fast-forward week for everybody in the NFL, the player personnel folks, the scouts, the coaches, because it all happens so quickly in the next dozen days. There are 90 players on each NFL roster right now, and quickly it'll get cut down to 75 on September 1st. We're going to have games in between them played this Friday through Sunday. Then those cuts come on Tuesday of next week. Then the final preseason game, all 16 games, 32 teams play a week from Thursday. And then 2 days later, so in 12 days, your roster has to be down to 53, 10-man practice squad, and it's let's start thinking about week 1.
And the good thing Tampa Bay has going for them, Mike, is they have first recall on the waiver wire because they were 2-14. They're going to sign a couple players that get cut. You wait and see. They'll end up making this 53-man roster.
This run should get us to the 2-minute warning. And the one thing, as you go through the math of that, 864 players will not have a place, whether it's the main squad of 53 or the practice squad. We expanded this year to 10. So it'll be a tough time for guys who have lived that NFL dream in the next dozen days. Final 2 here in Tampa. Bucs by 14. There is Seth Lobato. Undrafted, was with Indianapolis, Miami. Tampa signed him, threw for over 8,000 yards. His first year out of Northern Colorado. Cincinnati's out of timeouts, by the way, John, so they will not be able to use those here in the last 2 minutes. Yes, it is very good, as a matter of fact. Buccaneers will play Cleveland. Johnny Manziel and Josh McCown and all those guys come here Saturday. Another carry for Dominique Brown. Then they'll wrap up the preseason down in Miami in a dozen days. And then the schedule. And one thing for the Buccaneers, they're going to have an opportunity. They'll be playing some like folks early on in the season. There's some teams that did not have good years last year.
So that opening game is going to be interesting.
That's right.
Marcus Mariota, the number 2 overall pick, comes into Tampa to see the number 1 overall pick in a rematch of the bowl game last year between Oregon and Florida State. Between the two quarterbacks, that is.
Yeah, it ended up 59-20 in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. Brown trying to get to the first down at the 41-yard line. Comes up 3 yards shy. So the Bengals will go back and get back to work here. They'll have some things to clean up as they wrap up their preseason. The Bears come into Cincinnati on Saturday. They'll go down to Indianapolis, that short drive to wrap up the preseason. And then the Bengals open with 2 AFC West games at Oakland and then San Diego. Cincinnati will play the entire west of the AFC and the NFC on their schedule here this year. And we'll see J.J. Watt and the Texans in Week 10 in Cincinnati. We'll close out our Monday night season in Denver the Monday after Christmas. Rematch of the game we saw at the end of last year, the Bengals and the Broncos. Texans today naming Brian Hoyer as their quarterback, winning that battle with Ryan Mallett. So they let the clock run down, maximize the time, take off. They'll punt it one more time and Cincinnati will get it with 29 seconds left. Some folks think that the preseason needs to be cut down from the 4 games. Seen more veteran players being held out of games. They play about 5 or 6 quarters, really. 1 in the first game, maybe a drive or so, a couple in the second game. The dress rehearsal games coming up this week, week 3 preseason contest. And week 4, try to get any big names out of it.
There's Alford.
3 blocks picked up, and the young man from West Virginia takes it out to the 35-yard line. 34 officially. As coaches, you do think the evaluation in game is important, that we should, guys like me, say, hey, why don't we make preseason a couple of games and do some head-to-head scrimmaging with teams, that this is a different type of evaluation of your young players and you need it.
Well, in some ways I agree with you, Mike, but just asking Lovely Smith, they use the preseason to practice their tackling. They never tackle in practice.
Right.
And practices are limited now, much more than they ever were. I don't know when you evaluate your players under the lights live without a couple preseason games. Hate to see anybody get hurt, though.
Kumaro will get out of bounds. We'll get one more play here with 6 seconds left. And Marvin Lewis and Hugh Jackson will try to get this offense straightened out. Not their best night. 148 yards, a lot of it coming on that 80-yard drive at the end. What'd you see out of McCarron here in his first real NFL game action?
Saw a nice 2-minute drive against a very standard repeat coverage. Like to see him push the ball down the field. Did not do that very well tonight, but he's rusty, hasn't played in a long time. I give him credit for putting some points on the board and moving this offense.
Should be the final play. AJ trying to buy some space to throw it downfield, and he could not. And the game will end with a sack by the Buccaneers to the 25-11 victory.
The final score
For Tampa. Kashad Lyons gets the credit for that final sack. It's for real for us in a couple of weeks. We'll see you for the Monday Night Football season opening doubleheader with the Eagles and the Falcons starting, the 49ers hosting the Vikings. With John Gruden, Lisa Salters, and our team, Mike Tirico. So long from Tampa, John Anderson, John Butchergrass, SportsCenter.